Hey everybody, welcome to SeahawkTalk. I'm your host Joe Stevens, and we have DarwinsRavens here. I spelled that wrong on your screen. Sorry about that.
Oh
Or
no,
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 I
you got
spelled
no. I spelled it. I thought.
I
I don't even.
spelled it wrong on the
Oh,
ad for the video. I put the
it's
S
all
in the
good.
wrong
All
place.
good, my guy. But thanks
But
for having me.
yeah, how was your weekend?
It's always a fun one down here in Florida, right? How's it out? How's the weather out there in good old Washington area?
Raining.
Yeah, always, right? We're actually in the
Yeah.
dry season right now. We have no rain.
Yeah, it'll be raining for until July, and then it's really dry, and then August, and then September it starts raining again.
I
So
feel like y'all are kind of like us here in Florida. You have a rain season and dry season. That's about it.
yeah, exactly. I think ours is a little bit longer than yours, though.
That's for sure. That's for sure. At
But
least we don't
yeah,
get hurricanes.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, we're in the safe zone as long as Mount Rainier doesn't blow up. So,
That's for sure. That's a little terrifying.
but anyways, yeah, a lot of shit has happened since we talked
Yeah.
last.
That- it's like almost a where to even begin,
Well, I'd say let's just go with our top free agents from last time.
Oh,
You think?
man. Yeah, let me go back to my list here on that one.
Lamar was number
Yeah,
one.
of course, Lamar number one on that.
Yeah.
I mean, man, what a situation Baltimore's in here with Lamar. Like, I mean, would you keep him? Like,
I don't think anybody wants him. It's weird. I was kind of talking to my friends, and they say that nobody's interested, but part of me feels like everybody just says they're not
you
interested.
feel like there's a little truth to the owner collaboration rumors?
I don't know. I think everybody kind of got burned on Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson last
Exactly.
year, so it's almost like. And I think they don't want to deal with him and his mom negotiating with them. So
Fun fact about mentioning Deshaun Watson. I don't know if you saw he restructured his contract so Cleveland could be a little more active in free agency.
I knew they were talking about it. I didn't
They
see
did it. It moved, I think, like $9 million from onto each year for like the next 3 years. So his cap hit for the next 3 years on the Browns is going to be like $63 million.
And I don't
Like,
think they can't get out of it. I don't think it's all guaranteed. So
the only way the Browns get out of that, and this goes back, I've had this in my videos a while ago, like small conspiracy theory. So please anyone listening to this, take no truth in this. But I feel like the only way to get out of that deal is NFL personal conduct policy, which can void any contract and any guarantee.
But it has to be after, because
Mhm.
the way they wrote it, it has to be something new that comes out.
I use the fact, case in point, it came out later after he was already in Cleveland that he got caught when he first got to Cleveland doing like 100 on the highway, doing like almost criminal speeding, essentially. I don't know if there's going to be another anything for that, but that, of course, that's not enough to do it. But it's just one of those ones. I'm like, man, does Jimmy Haslam have like dirt on Deshaun? And he did this just to destroy the quarterback market. Because, of course, knowing the Ravens and the Bengals got to get their deals done, basically.
I'm surprised that Vegas signed Jimmy G today. I thought,
like, I mean, I get it because the Josh McDaniels thing,
yeah,
like it
but
totally makes sense there. But like, have
you
you
have
seen?
Lamar.
Apparently, Devontae might be mad about it. He put out like a cryptic tweet, quotations around cryptic guys, but
yeah, I'd be pissed too, I guess. I don't know.
he wanted Derek Carr to stay, and then maybe he was thinking Aaron Rodgers, maybe he was thinking like a young guy, but I don't think he's happy with Jimmy G.
Jimmy Garoppolo wins football games. I don't care what anybody says. He's a game manager, but he wins football games.
He's the new generation's Alex Smith.
Mm-hmm.
A little younger than Alex Smith, but I mean, always when he has an injury, it's always like just like the worst luck almost. Like I feel like, whenever he's always plays like pretty decently, good game manager, but it's just doesn't get the Vegas over the hump over the Chiefs.
I went on this 49ers guys podcast this weekend, actually Friday night. He was super cool. All of them actually. There was like 6 of them and one of me. So I was
A little scary, but
it took some balls to get on there, but I was they were all super nice to me,
I'm glad to
But
hear though you're getting more stuff though. I'm really glad to hear that.
yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody's been super nice to me. Just DM people on Twitter.
Literally, that's all it takes, man. Like,
yeah, and then you just got to be nice and kind of know what you're talking about, and that's about it. But
I
yeah,
agree.
he's gonna be on tomorrow. But they do not want to. They did not. They could not wait for Jimmy Garoppolo to leave.
Oh my god! Like what? The 49ers fans? I bet.
Yeah,
It's just one of those ones. Like Garoppolo's kind of kept him in a cap situation, but I put him more on their front office. Like
he's not a good or bad quarterback.
exactly. I would love him as a backup, and if I had to roll with him as a starter, it's one of those ones. If you put a great defense, Derrick Henry behind him. I mean, which he kind of had Christian a little bit, but I mean, not really, but the injuries.
Yeah, but yeah, the Lamar situation was super weird.
I don't know where we're headed with it. I really don't. Of course, I don't know if you saw, we had to cut Calais Campbell to get back under the cap.
Yeah, I had that written down.
Oh, heartbreaking, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I love that. And that was our Von Miller. That was our, guy to help us get over the Super Bowl hump, in my opinion, when we first brought him. And I feel so bad that he never got that ring. He deserves one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was with Arizona first, right? He's a pretty old.
Jacksonville. That's the thing. He was with Jacksonville when Jacksonville was garbage.
No, but I think he got drafted by Arizona.
Was it Arizona? He might have been.
And
but he's played a lot for Jacksonville. I know that.
Yeah, I know. I think he's a Jaguar. When
he retires,
that's who people
associate with him.
Yeah. Or the Ravens. I mean, he was pretty good with them.
Dude, he never dropped off. That's the thing, dude. He is not only a great leader and a consummate pro, but his play has never dropped. He's never really had that many injury problems. I can't rave enough about the man. I hope he goes and gets a ring wherever he goes this year, if he doesn't come back to us.
I mean, only one team's getting a ring, so Seattle. I'm just kidding.
This guy.
But yeah, so some really weird ones. I don't know if you even heard them happen, because I didn't until I went on Pro Football Focus. Jared Stidham signed with the Denver Broncos.
I saw that. And again, he was really liked by Josh McDaniels in Vegas too, but with Garoppolo coming, he was Stidham, if I'm not mistaken, started with McDaniels in New England way back. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah. No, he did. You're correct.
He's been following McDaniels for a while, so I was really surprised by that signing. But, I mean, I think Sean Payton's got a plan for him. Is he going to be the new Taysom Hill or whatever?
Yeah, I guess.
Because, I mean, I think he's pretty athletic.
Yeah, I don't know if he's Taysom Hill athletic, though. But
Definitely not. Definitely not.
I don't know. And then Mike White went to Miami. I thought that was kind of strange too. I mean, I guess they need a backup for.
I think Mike White sees a really good opportunity.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of these free agent lists. I didn't expect any of these guys to be signed today, and I didn't even know.
I've seen, again, cryptic tweets because I'm following a bunch of stuff. Some Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, and Wilson, the wide receiver for the Jets. They all put up tweets just a little while ago saying basically okay, I can finally go enjoy
I saw that.
So there's a lot of talk saying that deal is really done. I've seen some CBS reports, but I don't know. I've started to question anything from CBS.
I've started to question anything about Aaron Rodgers. It's
you
never know what he's going to do until it's Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter or somebody put something out. I'm I don't know.
All right, I got a question for you. All right, the over under on how many shrooms Aaron Rodgers did in his darkness retreat for 4 days.
I got bags of mushrooms. How many bags of mushrooms was he doing?
He's still coming down from that. He's wait, I came out? Shit.
Yeah, I heard some of those people, like, they still crack their back when hallucinogenic, so he's probably popping his back and seeing stuff.
Oh, dude, who knows, man? He's a little bit of odd character. I'm not going like hate on anything that he does, but he seems a little odd sometimes.
I couldn't deal with it if I was a
Exactly.
GM. I
Mhm.
mean, it's worse than
I would too.
Favre. I mean, Favre just wanted to come back and play. This guy is like,
I enjoyed watching Favre play. Like I was rooting for him when he was with Vikings. I'm not gonna lie, I was rooting for him.
I was rooting for him wherever he went until you figure out that he took like $5 million
I
elsewhere
know.
money. So
And I love how little coverage that got on ESPN and everything else.
oh
That
yeah,
he
and
was
then he
stealing like
tries to
welfare money from the state and making private deals with the governor.
yeah, and then he's trying to sue Pat McAfee, which just
Yeah, bro. When I saw that he was suing McAfee for defamation, I lost my shit.
it makes him look even worse.
It
Like
really.
I just
Maybe there's something in that Green Bay water that makes their QBs slowly go off the rails the longer they're there.
yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but Case Keenum signed with the Texans, I
Was
guess. And I
was
thought
it the
he was
Texans?
yeah, and I thought
Did
he
he
was
really
there.
go back?
I
Wow.
was gonna say I thought he was there before,
That's what
actually.
I thought. Like, wow. Yeah,
I
he
was
did. 2 years, 6.25.
yeah, I was writing this shit down like really fast. I didn't even think about that until I said it out loud. I was like, wow, I thought he was there already.
Dude, I could be wrong, but I swore like Casey Keenum like even went to the University of Houston. I'm
No,
probably
I
wrong
think
on that.
no, I think he did for sure. You can look it up.
So of course he played for the Bills last year. Yeah, he started 2013 with the Houston Texans. Played with for them for 2 years, appearing in 10 games. Like played pretty decent. That's what got him all these backup roles was, he was able to carry the Texans when they didn't have anything other than DeAndre.
Yeah, I think he was the one that threw the miracle at the Meadowlands pass too, was he not?
He might have been.
To the Vikings? Did he play in the
Yeah, and
Vikings?
he went to University of Houston.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a Houston kid through and through. Like,
Yeah, it's just so weird. It's one of those guys that just backs up. I mean, maybe he'll do what Geno did, get a chance.
oh my god, I don't know
But
what
they're gonna
happened to
draft
him. Now.
Bryce Young, I think. So or whoever. That's another thing. But then Sam Darnold went to San Francisco for 1 year.
Sam Darnold's the quarterback of the future.
Yeah, I think they're just happy to have any quarterback after
What do you think? All right, so we
any
got to talk to the
backup
49ers
quarterback.
and quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield. What was that about? Like, what happened to Baker, bro? I even as a Ravens fan, I kind of used to like Baker a little bit. Like,
The commercials got me. I don't know. I can't
God,
really do the
he
commercials.
paired in more commercials than games sometimes. Some
Yeah,
seasons, like,
exactly. But no, I think the 49ers fans, they'll just probably be happy to have a backup. And I don't
I
know.
think
I'll
it's a
ask.
solid.
I'll ask. This guy, No Border Sports, is coming on tomorrow. I don't know when Purdy's going to be back. It sounds more like
UCL, if I'm not mistaken, because I was looking up because Josh Allen had one as well. I'm pretty sure it's like 6 to 8 weeks. Possibly could use surgery, could do, which of course he already said he's doing the surgery. So
mhm.
I mean, like 8 weeks minimum, probably. So he should be back. It all depends on how bad that tear
They
is.
said it was 3 months after the surgery at least.
Yeah.
But then you think about it. I don't think he's going to be able to do any of the off-season work.
Yeah.
So I think it is Trey Lance, and it'd be cool. It'd be good I think every team should carry 3 quarterbacks on their roster.
I mean, in this day and age, it kind of is becoming more common.
Well, I mean, just the NFC Championship game alone. I mean, once they put Purdy back in and you realize he couldn't throw it more than
That was so
what,
sad. That was
5 yards
so
down the
sad.
field. And at first I was like, are they just protecting this guy? And then I was like, I don't think he can throw the ball at all.
I also think your Seahawks have inspired a lot of teams across the NFL with Geno Stone being able to bring
Smith.
out or Geno Smith, sorry.
Yeah.
Let's talk thinking of our safety from the Ravens. But Geno Smith, I think a lot of teams are looking at these former first round guys, even Bradford had a resurgence way back when, So
Yeah,
like case point,
exactly.
Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, they're looking at these guys and saying, maybe I can be the guy that fixes it. Because it also, what better statement to make to your owners? I took this guy that no one else could do, and I made it work. Golf.
Well, I think with the Niners case, they just want to have, if I were them, I
They
keep
never want to see what happened this year happen again.
I wouldn't want it. I mean, that was sad. I mean, obviously, I wasn't rooting for the 49ers. I'm a Seahawks fan, but I was like,
But as a fan of football,
yeah, you're like, you don't want to see the NFC Championship game happen that way.
Exactly. Like, I feel you on that. I just saw Jameis Winston's heading back to the Saints on a 1-year, $8 million deal.
Yeah, I saw that like right as we were
starting. That's the thing.
Yeah.
These deals are going to keep rolling in. Eric Kendricks going to the Chargers.
Let's see.
I don't think I had that on my notes when I was doing them earlier. Yep, I didn't. That's kind of a big signing.
One sec here. I think the Seahawks might have just signed somebody.
Ooh, that would be breaking. Of course, the Ravens can't do anything. Currently, after releasing Calais Campbell, my Ravens are sitting $750,000 over the cap. So just not even $1 million. But it says our effective cap space is still negative 1.7, meaning we probably still have to pay like performance contracts or maybe rookie class expected potentially. Because that's the thing, a lot of people don't realize you got to save a few million for your rookie class.
So 5 minutes ago, the Seahawks just signed defensive tackle Draymond Jones.
Ooh.
3 years, $51 million, and he came from Denver.
Draymond actually, I think, was one of the people that was a potential breakout candidate, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think he's pretty young. I could be wrong, but he only had a 51.8 grade. Look him up, will you?
Yep. 6'3", 281. So kind of like more of a, I guess that's a defensive end in your scheme.
Yeah, I just say defensive tackle. Everybody plays.
Last season he had 6.5 sacks.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm trying to get like all his other stats real quick.
I'll look him up too on PFF.
Yeah, 13 games played, 6.5 sacks. Basically, looks like he's. Of course, we're seeing all these 2019 guys. So guys entering their 5th season. I mean, as basically a pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
I swear I've seen articles though talking about, because you're going to see a lot of these guys with like 5 to 6 sacks getting pretty good deals. Does it say the details of that deal yet?
Yeah, 3 years, $51 million, but he had a pass rush grade of 67.3,
which is pretty.
So it
solid.
looks like he's not.
I think it's one of those ones. He's gotten better every year.
Yeah, I think I was looking at that too. So I'm not gonna pretend to know everything about this guy. I barely know his name.
I know, right? I just I remember it coming up every once in a while, and then of course coming across articles today. Let's see.
But yeah, so that's cool. We need defensive line help more than anybody. We're like one of the worst teams against the run.
Yeah, because your top needs were defensive line and interior offensive line.
Yeah, our run defense was terrible, which is scary seeing this guy's run defense so low.
Oh my God. So let me ask you as a Seahawks fan, how did it feel when you saw the number 1 free agent, Javon Hargrave, defensive free agent,
go to San Francisco?
Yeah, man. Dude,
yeah,
I didn't think they'd have the money for it.
I texted this guy. He does those 49ers deal, or the 49ers deal, and I was like, that's a lose-lose for me, because not only do we not get him, we also
goes to your division opponent.
Yeah, exactly. So he's probably going to be killing us, but it's always weird with the top rated free agents. I mean, sometimes they don't work out. So
sometimes they really don't,
But then again,
Albert Hainsworth didn't work out for the Redskins or Commanders.
Yeah, but he had a lot of personal issues there. They still signed him $100 million after he stomped on that guy's face. So,
oh man, let's see. Draymond Jones, 3rd round pick in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was his only full-time being a starter. So it's one of those ones, he's really just getting his start. Has 22 sacks in 29 starts. So I mean, that's a solid number.
Yeah, that's a good number to hear.
He did have a season-ending hip injury in week 14 though. So
yeah, that's what I thought. I thought all of those Broncos defensive linemen ended up pretty hurt. So
Yeah. And he had 45 total pressures. That was tied for 11th among interior defensive linemen, with a 10.6 pressure percentage. Again, 11th.
mhm.
I mean, so again, for his first year starting, that's solid. The dude's 26 years old. That's going to be a
Yeah.
good signing, I feel like, for y'all.
Yeah, I hope so. You never like I said, you never know until you see him, but I
Yeah.
thought another one that was weird is Mike Boone. He was like a 3rd string running back for the Broncos. He just went to Houston for 2 years, 3.1.
I know. I'm like, some of the ones I was looking at, I was like, it's like almost questionable because like half of them, you don't, you know, half these guys we really don't know. You know what I
No.
mean? I
No,
don't really
because
know who Andrew Beck is, the
I
tight
know,
end
I
the
was
Houston
looking at
side.
that. I
Like,
think I watched a lot of Broncos this year because they had we have their 1st round draft pick, and I like to watch Russell lose.
yeah, you want to see where you're picking.
Yeah, so I kinda had an idea of him, but there's certain guys that I'm like, "How did they go so early?" You know?
Mhm.
But, like, Josh Oliver, I've never heard of him. You probably have because he's
Oh, dude, when I
yeah.
saw that, I was like, I've been calling that. And when I did the Bengals and the Vikings, I said, watch, because I'm telling you, Josh Oliver, we took him from Jacksonville, and when he came out of college, really, really good pass catching tight end, but couldn't block to save his life. He came, practiced under Greg Roman, learned how to block, became one of the best run blockers last year. He's got sneaky speed and like he was out there making one-handed catches this past season, looking like a little smaller Mark Andrews, basically. I thought he was going to be a steal, and he went off the market, before a lot of these number one tight ends did. I'm telling you, that's going to be a sneak signing. But
Yeah, that's
it's
what
a little bit of a head scratcher because he went to Minnesota, right?
yeah.
They already made the trade for what's his name mid-season.
Hawkinson.
Yeah, like
You can I like to have 3 solid tight ends, so, I mean,
I
you can
kind
never have
I like to have 2 solid and then the 3rd guy, a little developmental. You
Yeah,
go you go just, I'll take a chance on this guy."
I like having 3 tight end sets, though, is what I'm saying, you know?
I mean, you gotta eventually at some point in the NFL to run the damn ball.
Yeah, to go heavy. But, yeah, Jonnu Smith got traded today, I think, right, to Atlanta, and I
Yeah, I
forgot
think
what
the Patriots were loving to get rid of him. I think he didn't work out there. I didn't like that signing. I talked to my Patriots friend whenever they signed. I said, "No, no, that wasn't a good signing."
you guys lost your guard today too,
Oh,
Ben
Ben
Powers.
Powers. I mean, we knew we were.
Mhm.
He was like one of the best pass blocking guards in the NFL this year, and of course, always good for running. Um, but the good news. So supposedly, according to our guys, like in Baltimore,
Mhm.
Powers is going to net us because of that contract, potentially a 4th round pick next year, compensatory. And actually, Josh Oliver, because he got actually a good, pretty decent contract, might net us a 6th.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say 3 years, 21,000,000. They must have saw something that other
I'm telling you, they
people
saw that little Mark Andrews, man, out there making one-handed grabs.
and then,
But they don't realize when Lamar got hurt, Josh Oliver was the guy that let the guy like basically Josh Oliver was coming back on a split back or crackback block coming
mhm.
across the formation, and he kind of didn't really get his guy, and it fucked everything up. And Lamar actually got hurt, I'm pretty sure, on one of those plays. So
Oh, yeah.
Baltimore probably didn't really want him back, but we
Um,
got a lot of good young guys. I'm excited.
so he's a good pass blocker, Ben Powers is?
Yeah, he was one of the best pass blocking guards in the NFL this last season. And of course, everyone knows Baltimore runs the ball. So they're saying he's going to fit in really well. He went to, what was it, Denver?
Denver, along
Yeah.
with Mike McGlinchey.
Which we talked heavily about Denver was going to take him. Like,
Yeah, and he's another one. He's a great run blocker, but I guess he's
mhm,
not that much of a pass blocker. And
yep.
then the exact opposite of that would be Jawan Taylor, correct? That's who we talked
Yeah.
about was
Yeah. Yeah. Great pass
the
blocker, but can't run block for shit.
yeah, exactly. So
And
he
of
went
course, that's going to be an interesting story in Kansas City because they said with the signing of Jawan Taylor, that seals Orlando Brown leaving. I don't know if
yeah,
you've seen the rumors too. The Bears
I
suppose they're
think that
willing to
was
pay.
I think that was kind of a foregone conclusion that he was leaving. You know?
It's just sad, man. What's up with Baltimore Raven players doing these bad contracts and like holding out? Like they, of course, and supposedly they were willing to pay him like that kind of money. So what was holding that deal up for all these years? You know what I mean? He
Yeah,
played really well. Like, come on,
and then
guys.
I guess Kansas City lost their other tackle. Was he a
Oh
back?
yeah, their right tackle
So
went
yeah, he was the right
to the
tackle
Titans,
then.
I think. Andre
I
Dillard?
No, that was
No.
Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, that's Phillies. Sorry.
Yeah, Andrew Wiley was
Yeah,
Kansas
Wiley.
City. He went to Washington.
Man, I'll be honest. I was looking at Washington. So with that signing and then the Nick Gates, which I think 3 year 16.5,
Yeah, I
they're
saw him.
trying to get something there together. But I mean, who's their quarterback? It's not
Yeah,
going to
I
be Aaron
don't.
Rodgers. Like,
Who was? Didn't they have a rookie start at the end of the season? Yeah, they did. What's his
yeah, they got
name?
a young guy they drafted this past year. Oh, what's
Not
his name?
Ritter, but the other
No,
one.
that's Atlanta's guy.
Yeah.
Heineke.
No, Heineke.
Um,
He's leaving. I think it's another guy. I
yeah,
forget who he was. He
I
was a draft
know.
pick last year.
Sam Howell, UNC kid.
Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
yep.
So, yeah, I guess they're rolling with him because he's another guy you'd think
It's one of the ones, like, I mean, if you look at that roster, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, okay, solid.
yeah, just the offense.
You
Brian
know,
Robinson is the running back.
exactly. They've got like decent weapons, it's not the best. And of course, the defense, like you got Chase Young, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, like you got pretty good like line and edge
Yeah,
rushers.
exactly.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
their
man.
defense was supposed to be really good the last couple of years, but they really haven't. They have
That
huge
division
names.
was hard though, like
Yeah, but
especially this year.
that defense should be top in the NFL with how they should be able to get to the quarterback.
I feel like they always have injury issues.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
saw the rumor supposedly in one of the games in Washington when they were playing the Cowboys. Apparently, they don't even have like heated seats or anything in the stadium for the cold days. So
Oh,
the
probably
the
not.
Cowboys literally like took their own benches from their stadium and flew them to Washington and installed them for the game. And that's again because Washington got the worst report card in the entire NFL, I think.
Well, that's the worst stadium in the NFL. You saw the poop
Exactly,
pipes
like
that burst or whatever. They had shit
exactly, like
pipes that burst,
horrible.
and
I wonder
then
who's this team's going to get sold to and if they're going to stay. I really feel like they're going to move.
oh,
I
they're
feel like they're
gonna
moving, man.
yeah, they're gonna move stadiums, but they're gonna
I
be
think the new owner might move the franchise.
yeah, no, I think they're no, I think they're gonna stay in Washington, but actually go to Washington and not Maryland. Because I guess you know where RFK Stadium was in DC before they moved to this stadium they're in now. It was in
I don't
Washington,
actually.
DC. And
Yeah, I don't even know where their stadium's at. I know it's like 50 miles down the road from M&T, so it's like so close to M&T. They call it the Battle of I forgot whatever the highway is called because you can just get on one highway and go from M&T basically to the Commander Stadium.
yeah, but I think they're gonna move back to Washington, DC because when they sell the team will come with the old stadium. So they can
Yeah,
demolish that and build a new
yeah,
stadium. Because that
and
that
that'll
stadium's
probably be good. That'll be good Lamont Bland to sell.
yeah, but that stadium's not that old. It was built in 1999, but a lot of those stadiums that were built in like the late 90s are kind of going by the wayside.
Mhm.
But our stadium, it was built in 2002 and it's still considered like one of the top stadiums in the NFL. It's weird. It's just I think it's how certain
Y'all put a lot of money into the actual design. Like case in point, y'all put a lot of thought into how your stadium funnels the sound of the 13th man. Like
yeah, 12th
I
man.
remember watching the document. Yeah, sorry, 12 man. Sorry. Oh my
Oh,
god.
you're good.
But they've done documentaries about your stadium, and your
Yeah.
stadium inspired other stadiums.
Yeah, do you know what those well, I guess you can see it on our screen, right? You see those the covered sidelines. So that's
Hmm.
what funnels the noise in. But that was actually designed based off of the Husky Stadium in
Hmm.
Montlake up the road.
Some of these college players say honestly, their college stadiums are louder than some of these NFL
Oh, that
stadiums.
wouldn't be surprise me, especially in the SEC and stuff, the Southeast
Mhm.
Conference. I mean, it would not surprise me. They
It's like
draw
case in point, even Penn State. Penn State, dude, that college's stadium is ginormous.
Oh, yeah, and somehow, even after all that scandal, they're
Mhm.
still good, and they still have a bunch of
It was one
fans.
of those ones that was such a hard situation for me because I was like, I know Joe Paterno, like I grew up watching him, and then like he, of course, he fucked up really bad,
Yeah, to
not
come to find
fucking
out.
turn exactly. I'm like, we never know all the stories, but I thought it was so fucked up how they just like destroyed the entire program. The NCAA did, like taking away all their scholarships. I'm like, that's future kids that had nothing to do with this. Like,
Yeah, but
the
you gotta do
ball
something.
totally.
It
Sorry.
was so bad, though, it's not
It
like.
really was. They had to set an example, basically. You have to kind of, because
Yeah,
it was
exactly,
really bad.
and hopefully nobody will have to deal with that again, but I
Oh
don't
my
like how
god.
they kinda did it the same way as, like, them paying college players because it's not, it's way worse, you know what I mean?
Literally, like literally.
Yeah, like, do something. But you wanna move to the defense?
Oh
Free
yeah.
agents? So Calais Campbell got cut today,
Yeah.
and like you
Oh,
said.
Jesse Bates.
Yeah, I saw that. They lost both their safeties,
Yeah,
actually.
which of course everyone knew Bates was leaving. Bates, if I remember, went to Atlanta. I did all my notes by like divisions.
Oh, my bad, I just did them off
Oh
of
no, no, you're good. Honestly, I kind of like your idea of going back through our free agents. It kind of makes a lot of sense, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But, yeah, so Jesse Bates, yeah, didn't he get franchise tagged last year too? So
Yeah,
they
he got franchise tag. They couldn't work out a deal, and I kind of understand. What was it? He signed 4 year, like 64 million, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep,
And
4 year.
then Von Bell, doesn't have his stuff up yet.
Yeah, I noticed that. When I redid the Bengals roster, I was really trying to keep at least a Bell. It's gonna hurt them a little bit. Of course, they have a Daxton Hill ready to replace Bates essentially, but
Mhm.
now they've got to address another safety position. I feel like. I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, they got they got 2 of them gone, so, usually you only have 2 starting, so well, I guess now
Yeah,
it's different. Everybody's playing
yeah. A lot of
nickel
people
and
use
big
that
nickel.
third one.
So, but yeah, and then, the Eagles safety left for Vegas, Marcus Epps, not their big name
Yep, he
safety,
signed a
not
nice
CJ
little,
Johnson.
not like a big deal over there, but he signed a decent one, if I
Yeah, and then,
remember correctly. 2 year, 12 million, so 6 million a piece. And
yeah,
then of
and
course
then
they tag Jacobs. They re-signed Amir Abdullah, the running back as well. I mean, Raiders got a chance with Jimmy G, but I just don't think it's nearly enough to get over the hump of Kansas City.
I don't trust them with their coach. I feel like their coach just always messes stuff up.
Do you think McDaniels has just like kind of been bullshitting his way through everything this whole time? He's like, "Holy crap, how did I get here?"
Yeah, kinda riding the coattails of Bill Belichick, just like
A little bit.
everybody that leaves Bill Belichick. I mean,
Doesn't do well, really.
no, I mean,
Like,
even Nick Saban. Nick Saban's a Bill Belichick guy, and he's a great college coach, but in
mhm.
the NFL, he didn't do anything, you
Yep.
know?
I mean, kind of like Pete Carroll when he first came to the NFL. Pete didn't do well, but Pete, again, the thing is, Pete learned and he changed how he approached things. And that's what of course, Saban's like, no, I'm going to go back to college and do everything I'm doing because these are boys and I can tell them what to do and they
Which
can't
works,
get paid.
and it works with Belichick, though. It's so weird how
It's
some
hard. Belichick argument is essential to you're like playing basketball with your buddy and he's like, oh, you suck. And you're like, scoreboard, bitch.
Yeah,
And you're up.
exactly.
Like, he's like, rings, bitch. How many
I
rings?
like
Oh.
I like Bill Belichick a lot, I really do. For some reason, I can't not like him.
As again, we talked about earlier, we're fans of the game. He is a genius. Like one of those years, he just abused every rule in the book that like wasn't really covered. And they're like, it's not illegal, but it's really fuck up, and he's abusing the rules. And they would make a rule the next year addressing what he did.
Yeah, I was
Like
watching him. You know how, when
that's
they
just
do
fun.
heavy set, they'll
Mhm.
put in extra tackle, and he'll have to go, "I'm ineligible," or
Yep.
I'm an eligible
Uneligible
receiver."
receiver. Yep.
Yeah, so he was doing the opposite to confuse defenses. He was
Mhm.
putting, like, a running back in there. I remember watching this, and he'd go, I'm ineligible, and they'd cover him up. So he'd have an extra blocker, but say they're in man coverage, right? Somebody
Yep.
just stayed with him. I mean, it was weird, but
again, that's just kind of smart. As much as I'm like, man, fuck you for abusing the rules, but at the same time, you got to give a little credit for thinking of it, employing it. Like,
yeah, and he's awesome with situations. Like if you ever watch, like him mic'd up, he'll just walk up to a player and just go, it's 1st and 10. We're on our own 1-yard line. We're going to do hard count. If you jump off sides, what's going to happen? And he goes, 5-yard penalty. He goes, no, it's a 1.5-yard penalty. If they jump off sides, it's 5 yards, stuff like that. I mean,
I heard an old story, like back when Brady was there. They, of course, had a game coming up where it was supposed to rain. And, it was, of course, wasn't supposed to rain all week during practice. And how Belichick kept going out there and, like, before every play would just, like, dump an entire bucket of water on the ball. He's like, it's not going to be nice on Sunday, boys. Like, he'd be the one, like, literally turn the sprinklers on.
Yeah, a lot of coaches
crack
do
some
that
sprinklers.
now.
It's going to be raining.
Yeah, a lot of coaches do that now, but I mean, he was probably one of the first.
I don't know if you know this. Old school coaches have like this thing with arm sleeves. They really don't like their players wearing arm sleeves because I don't like it either. If I'm carrying the ball, I feel like it slips off. New school coaches don't care, but old school coaches, they don't really like it.
Yeah, and then another thing that he did is he'd never let like say they were playing at home, right? He wanted his players to wear white gloves because if they're gonna hold, you can't see it as well. Stuff like that.
Bro, I learned that stuff. Like I played in band and stuff growing up, and I didn't do marching band, but I was like in a band where basically everyone, if you were in this band, you also had to do marching band, but I got an exception because they really needed trumpet players. But the guy talked about stuff. He's like, hey, the field has this color. We're going to wear these color shoes so they don't really see like our mistakes. These color gloves so they don't really see our mistakes. Just like, that's good situational awareness and game planning. Like,
yeah,
you can't hate it. I used to have an old soccer coach talk about like the Belichick way. Real old school guy. And he believed no cussing and no spitting on his field and respect his field. And he used to have a rule for if you yelled a cuss word on his field, you would run a lap for every letter in the cuss word. So if you said fuck, you were running a mile.
Yeah.
And you know what, though? He won several state championships because his players out-conditioned everybody.
Yeah.
They ran circles around every other high school team in the state. Like,
well, that's awesome.
That's like how Belichick is.
If you look at Pete Carroll, though, I mean, not as far as coaching their players, but with the media, I've noticed with really successful head coaches, they don't tell the media shit,
Keep them guessing. Belichick got investigated for that because he was supposedly faking injury reports.
Yeah, so like if with Pete Carroll, right, if you sprain your ankle, he'll tell the media, "Oh yeah, he's got a leg thing." That's all he'll tell us.
It's technically right, but he's not really telling you shit.
Yeah, exactly. He'll go, "Oh yeah, he's got a little leg thing that's bugging him. We'll see how he's doing later in the week." And exactly like Belichick, he'll go, "Oh yeah, he's got a leg."
I think when Belichick was getting investigated for the injury thing too, there was one game where he like put almost like I feel like a ton of players who actually weren't injured just on there, just so they wouldn't be able to tell who the hell was starting, basically, because they're all listed as questionable, doubt, probable. Like.
Well, you can't. I mean, if you think about it, in an NFL season, every player's hurt, right? I think that's kind of the point he was trying to make because. I think people get in trouble for the opposite too, like not putting somebody on the injury report. And it's like, dude, come on.
And he did a lot of that too. He did a lot of that.
Yeah.
People would have like torn ace, like LCL. And he's like, nope, they're good. 100%.
Yeah.
Comes out after the season. They're having surgery. Like,
yeah. I can't believe I was looking Patrick Peterson. So Cam Sutton signed with the Lions.
Man. Oh yeah, the Cam Sutton, that's a big one.
Yeah, and
we were wondering who was going to be the guy to transform that Lions secondary. We talked about that on the last podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And He's a pretty good ball player, so I think they still got a lot of
Mhm.
room for improvement.
Man, talk about corners though. Jalen Ramsey,
Yeah, I know.
like going to Miami, and
I couldn't
for
believe it.
Hunter Long and like a third.
I didn't even write his name down because I didn't remember it. I just wrote
He's not that good. He's not that
back.
good.
I
He's like
wrote
Joanu.
Jalen Ramsey trade to Miami for 3rd-round pick and
Mhm.
backup tight end.
Literally, and that's exactly the Rams know they're in full rebuild mode, just like the Buccaneers. Essentially, I heard a lot of talk that the Buccaneers and the Rams are going to be interested in Baker. By the way,
I
I don't
don't
know.
think so.
You don't think so?
No, wait, you said the Rams?
The
Yeah, I
Rams
think.
and the Bucks, yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll stay there because he ended the season with them last year.
Oh, that's right. He did actually.
Yeah,
I
he
forgot
beat
about
the
that.
Broncos on Christmas Day. He
Yep,
got.
got claimed, played them. Didn't he play Cleveland too? Right
I
after or something? I don't know.
don't know, but he
I
did
remember that.
pretty
He got some
good.
revenge.
He came here, the last game of the season, and we went to overtime with him.
It's one of those ones he perplexes me. I feel like he's slightly like Kyle Murray. Insanely talented, but playing too much Call of Duty.
Yeah, I don't know if he ain't no Kyler Murray talent, but
He's got pretty decent talent though. Like he's a
he
little
just
short.
kind of he kind of wore sour on me, with all the commercials and all the
He's one of those
interviews.
ones that what is it? Confidence smiles, but arrogance smirks.
Yeah,
That's a good
exactly.
saying for him. Like he sometimes is a little too cocky where he's getting arrogant.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's getting cut.
Yeah, exactly. And then I don't mind if you talk the talk as long as you back it up. But if all of a sudden you can't back that shit up, like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't believe that Patrick Peterson's still playing, to be completely honest with you.
I
I
mean,
saw this.
when I looked up his stats, 80.7 PFF rating last year, 5 interceptions. He was 32nd in targets and 39th in receptions. So still playing pretty good. Honestly, he's someone I wanted Baltimore to sign really bad. I wanted him.
He's old, corners
I mean, yeah,
usually
he's getting old.
corners are usually the first ones to go. I mean,
Oh yeah,
corners and running backs. When they
because
lose.
that short burst. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, pardon. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
When corners lose a step, it's like night and day. I
Yep.
mean, look at the Super Bowl that the Chiefs beat the 49ers. That was one of Sherman's last years, and he got beat.
Didn't he have an injury the prior season? Like something in
Yeah,
his leg?
he did. He missed most of the season the year
Achilles,
before.
wasn't it? Or no, was that after?
That was with us, the
I'm
Achilles.
telling you, that Achilles tear, that's what happened to Terrell Suggs, and Terrell lost a good chunk of his burst after that Achilles tear.
Was never the same.
Yeah, I heard although that surgery's come a long way over the years. That's what David Ojabo actually had. He had Achilles tear as well.
Most of the lower, the knee and ankle stuff, it's come a long way.
Defensive back, especially corner, I feel like is just like one of the hardest positions in the NFL. I played like a little bit of press corner myself, but like you're saying, that quick twitchiness to be able to backpedal, change direction, and match, someone like Tyreek Hill, running down, streaking down the field. You got to, and then on top of that, the game is, in favor of the offense.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I don't know if you know this, or watched a lot of Richard Sherman back in the day, but
I actually kind of did. I enjoyed watching him. I enjoyed watching. I have a similar frame. I was like, yo, that could be me. I'm a little slower than him, but
yeah, he would shade receivers so good, and he would know right where the ball was. And we got this guy Woolen right now. He came in.
Oh yeah, the 6'5" guy, 4'2", like ridiculous safety you have.
So he plays corner, but he plays outside corner right where Sherman did, but on the opposite side, he plays right side. Sherman always played left.
Fun fact too, those tall corners, it makes it hard in the red zone, man. That's what, again, I played a little bit more like when I played DB, I played in the red zone because when I'm 6'3", it's hard. I cut angles basically. And that 6'5" safety playing on the outside corner, yeah, he takes away basically everything to the fucking pylon.
That's what I remember. God, I was in either 9th or 10th grade. Our football coach goes, he wanted the fastest guys to play cornerback, right? And he goes, name a team that has, cornerbacks over 6'2", and I go the Seahawks.
Oh yeah, the Legion
And,
of Boom.
and he goes, they have two safeties playing because we had Brandon Browner and Richard Sherman. He goes, they have two strong safeties playing cornerbacks. That's not going to last very long. And that was like the first year they had him start. And I was like, boy, I bet you feel like an idiot now for saying
Yeah,
that.
but I also am a big advocate. You got to have one smaller slot guy. Like, it's just one of those ones. Those small guys, they're burst. It's
Yeah, I know.
usually on a, but I feel like they burn out after like 5 years.
But no, what I was saying about Woolen
Yeah.
is so Sherman, you'd watch him, and they're built the same way. They almost look they're super long and lanky, right?
Yeah.
And Sherman would shadow him the whole way. Woolen, you think he's beat, but no, he will just close in
He's
so
baiting.
fast.
He's baiting because he knows his speed and he knows how he's probably done his film study. He knows how far that quarterback can throw and what that throw looks like. That's what Ed Reed used to do. That's what a good safety does. You know, I can beat you. I have the closing speed. Like,
Yeah,
and
Earl Thomas used to do that.
And bigger guys, they don't get to their full speed until they're running for a minute. Usually, of course, he's an animal though.
I was
We
going to
talked
say
about his
not this
40.
guy. That's what
He,
I'm saying. He'll let guys beat him down the field, and then you go, oh my God, where did he come from? Because 9 times out of 10, any other cornerback, he's toast.
It's that thing, man. Like I said, once he turns and actually gets going, and he opens up his 6'5" gate, that's bro. And I used to do that to people all the time whenever I'd play wide receiver. People I had like I said, I had like 4.7 to 4.5 ish speed, like so whenever like I actually started lifting. But I would long step. I would take these long, really slow strides off the step. I'm still covering the distance, but what it was is if I'm going over the top, the safety would be like, man, he's going so slow. But what it is I'm building up. And then when I get even, hit the full stride, plant my feet, really burst. And they tell me like, yo, you got to watch him, man. He's going to go over the top. And then my boy would just put a ball 50 yards down the field over. I had one guy that played a little bit for CCU, and he used to give me some of the most beautiful deep balls I've ever had in my life. Like, had good times playing with him. Like, so that's the thing. He just in the open field. Once he gets going, there's no outrunning him, and that's like a cover one safety. I want what I would give to have him at Baltimore as a cover one. I mean, we got Marcus Williams, so we're pretty okay, but I can't lie. I think Tariq Woolen's better.
He's a corner, dude. He's true.
He can play anything. He can play anything.
No, that's all he plays, outside corner.
And the thing is, y'all play the cover 3. So you basically let a lot of these guys play off a little bit, get their eyes on the quarterback. And that's the bonus of it. They're already playing deep. They know their guys got them. I don't know. It's just, it's such a good system fit. And y'all been doing it since you had Richard Sherman. Like,
there was a few years where it was rough. There always is with any scheme because you're going to have the right personnel, right? But we have a pretty good cover 1 safety or cover 3 safety, but play center field, so basically cover 1 and
exactly. And like you said, you can put them on one side of the field as a corner. And literally, that's a third of the field gone, basically.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So Sherman, back in the day, he used to basically
he did that. He took a third of the field away.
The left side of the field, and then they'd have another cornerback on the right side who wasn't as good. And you
had like Bobby Wagner and great coverage linebackers who could really cover all the ground in the middle, which again is very important in your scheme. Because I think sometimes in the cover 3, the linebacker actually drops kind of deep if the safety's not.
But the thing is with the cover 3 is you have to have a great pass rush, or else they'll run those crossers. Right. And that's what happened with us in the playoffs. They ran those. Woolen's getting burned. And it's like, well, Woolen's thinking in his head, do I stay outside or do I trail this guy inside? And then he starts trailing the guy inside a little late, and it just doesn't work.
Exactly. The timing is just not there. And we talked about last time. I feel like pass rush wins championships.
Yeah, for sure.
And y'all did have a pretty good pass rush back then too, as well, with Richard Sherman and all them in the good days.
So the year we won the Super Bowl, Michael Bennett.
Yep, of course. Yeah.
Dude, he wasn't.
He was basically like our Calais Campbell. He's like, if I remember, like 6'7", 6'9", huge guy. Like,
no, he's pretty small.
Really?
I mean, he wears tiny pads. I want to say he's like 6'5". Look him up.
I feel like you might be right about the 6'5". Of course, I look it up. It's like a senator.
Yeah.
Let's see. Michael Bennett, Seahawks. You're even closer than I am. 6'4", technically.
Yeah, but he'd wear those tiny shoulder pads to make him look freaking huge. He'd wear punter. That's what he'd wear. He'd wear punter shoulder pads.
I feel him though. Yo, when I played, I wore quarterback pads because I didn't like how like my other pads fit. I was like, I know my ribs are exposed. I'll get some stuff to protect my ribs. Like I got like, not a flak jacket, but kind of something similar that really helped, pad my ribs up a little bit. But I was like, man, I want the maneuverability to go get the ball wherever my QB puts it. Like,
Yeah, he's you see him, he looks goofy. I mean, with
he kind
those
of does.
tiny pads
I'm
on.
looking at it now. I think he did the same thing. I'm looking at his Buccaneer pads, and I'm like, bro, it looks so tiny.
But so he was a backup. He was a second rotation guy that year that we won the Super Bowl. That's how deep
Wasn't
our
that like Bruce Irvin's rookie or sophomore year
second
too?
year.
Yep,
Second
sign.
year.
He was a
So
monster with
it,
Alden Smith and him.
yeah, it was Bobby Wagner. Oh, in Oakland afterwards.
Yep, yep.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
was
just
like,
all of them. That draft, that Von Miller, Bruce Irvin, or Smith, and then Irvin. Like those three, like changed how linebackers were viewed in the NFL. I feel like, to be honest with you, and every single one of them I wanted in Baltimore.
yeah.
Never could get picks high enough.
But yeah, so we had such a deep pass rush that
They did.
year. And
And see, that's why
everybody
Philly got somewhere this year. Their pass rush was.
well, and then the next year we lost Chris Clemens. I mean, he was the starter above Bruce Irvin. And
He
then
was
we
always
go to
solid, if I remember correctly. Always solid.
yeah, and then we go to the Super Bowl against the Patriots and everybody's hurt. I think Richard Sherman, his elbow was messed up. Earl Thomas, the shoulder was messed up. And then
Yeah.
our other starting cornerback got hurt. He picked off Brady. That's the reason we lost that game. It wasn't because we fucking threw the ball.
Couldn't run the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I agree. Anytime someone's like, "Oh, we lost because that last second decision, we didn't run the ball," anything like that with the Ravens, that's not why we lost. We should have never been in that situation as a good team, in my opinion. And people say that all the time with like the Ravens. They're like, "Oh, you could have won there." I'm like, "Nah, if we'd kicked that field goal." And I have to say this, like with Lamar, there have been times where Harbaugh was trying to send the field goal unit out, and Lamar's like, no, we're going. You can see on Harbaugh's face, they're mad. And I'm like, yo, as a head coach, I'm telling you, I don't care who you are, especially when you don't get it.
yeah.
Because a lot of times this season, he did it, especially when you don't get it and you waved me, the head coach of this team, off. No, I don't care who you are. You got to go. I ain't got time for that kind of
almost
ego.
kind of like that guy though, compared to I don't know. We had to deal with Russell Wilson for such a long time to where, everything went right. He wanted the praise. Everything went wrong. He didn't want
He
to
didn't
take
want any of the responsibility.
any of the
Yep,
blame.
I agree.
But
Started
yeah.
pointing fingers.
Yeah, Chicago spent some money on two good inside linebackers today on Edwards and Edmonds. I don't know.
Yeah, which we called probably, because again, how much money they had. They were all going to go get all these big name guys.
Yeah, and David Long went to Miami.
Yeah.
Who else we got? God, what is another big name?
I mean, you got. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, you got the Bills finally getting some interior offensive line help with Connor McGovern. They signed him 2-year, I think $23 million.
Yeah, I saw that. So, dude, I was looking up. So I could have swore he played for the Cowboys, right?
He did. 2019 third round pick.
No, he did. But I Googled Connor McGovern.
And it gave you the wrong one, didn't it?
Yeah.
I saw the same thing where I was like, wait, what?
That's what I was doing. And I was like, dude, what is going on? I was like, am I going crazy or what? I didn't know there. And they both
had the same thing.
The other guy plays center too. And this guy's a guard. And I was like, dude, something is not right here.
So funny story. I started doing my notes and I was trying to do more detailed notes and I started running out of time. So before he took over as the starter for the Cowboys, they had Connor Williams, who the Cowboys were like, no, we'll let him go. He went to Miami, moved to center, became the best center in football last year. So really? It's one of those ones we're looking and we're like, I mean, he played pretty good. OTC evaluated his play at like $4.2 million. So a little bit of an overpay. But I mean, like, he had 61 this year, 61 his first year, 68 grade the next year, and then 52. He might play well, like for the Bills, and it might really help them, like because they're just like y'all. They need that interior offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, really, I just want a center, but there's not really many good centers available.
Center's always a hard one to find. Like it
Yeah,
really
and that's
is.
why we've been taking guy ever since we traded Max Unger away to the Saints and a first round pick for Jimmy Graham, and that's been the last good center we had, and that was 2014.
Actually, I think on the list somewhere y'all had one of your former guys. Ethan.
Posick.
Yeah, going to the Browns.
He's not good. I don't care what anybody says. He was not good with the
And that's what
Seahawks.
I would really wanted to know what your opinion was on him.
No,
I mean,
and then
for
people were like,
for $6 million,
no.
you wouldn't do it for $6 million.
I didn't watch him last year, but I wouldn't do it for 1 million next year.
What would you think? What was his main issue? As someone who's going to play the Browns twice the next year, I would love to know what his issues are.
He can't run block. He can't pass block. I mean, just boneheaded stuff. It was our whole offensive line when he played. So maybe he wasn't the problem, but you almost just wanted to throw we had like the last year he played for us, we had like one good offensive lineman, Damian Lewis. So it was like anybody besides him, just giving up sacks all the time. But then again, we had Russell Wilson, our quarterback, and he holds on to the ball for so.
And that was when y'all first were winning. I feel like Russell was lightning quick with that release. But like you said, when he started playing bad, I feel like everyone talked about he was just holding the ball.
It's like he was looking for the deep shot on every single play, And then
it's like I respect that, but man, we got to keep the offense in tune in time. Like.
Well, he was always sacked a lot because he held on to the ball a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But when he was younger, he could run his way out of it. And
exactly.
He either can't or doesn't want to do that.
He lost like half a step or a step, but that was really the difference between miracle plays and, okay, maybe I just throw the ball away instead of making a serious gap. He's the one that introduced to me what gap play was, game-altering plays. He used to talk about that a lot. But like you said, he started looking for it too much.
Yeah, and then, he used to be able to do that pirouette. He used to literally drop back, roll out to his left, and then find one
that
person.
That spin move he did was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, and that was like his first 2-3 years, but then he stopped doing it, and he quit running as much. He wasn't the same,
It happens. I mean, especially like you get banged up a little bit here and there. It's one of those ones like I appreciate a quarterback that can run. I would love my quarterback the ability to run like, Lamar, young Russell, but I don't like offenses that run their quarterback a lot. I get a QB sneak. I get that. But like running them and getting up the middle and getting them hit too much, I ain't about that life. I pay way too much money.
You don't want him to need to run. You want him to he can run.
Exactly. If everything goes to shit, my bad, man. Yeah. Like, please save me.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing.
Be able to force them with a wide open offense running like 4 or 5 wide to have to man up and play close on me. And again, if they're playing man, the moment a back's turned, I might have a one-on-one or open shot to run. At that point, again, take it all day, every day. Like,
yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't like the designed quarterback runs often. I like it maybe twice a game, maybe.
Yeah. And see, I think Lamar, like case in point for Lamar in Baltimore, I think Lamar would thrive if, again, you don't game plan any quarterback runs, but if you run, it's okay. But so at that point, you're designing so much that they have to deal with that isn't Lamar so that their hands are full. Instead, you're basically letting them game plan for Lamar. Don't let them do that.
Yeah, but, exactly.
What do I know? And maybe Todd Monken will do it. He ran an open offense in Georgia, so maybe it'll work. I saw Lamar put up another picture like with it wearing all his Raven stuff.
He's still a Raven, dude. He's still a Raven.
And that's like, I want it to work, but man, like if the contracts are what they say, like we need to work. I want long-term stability.
Like I said, I don't think people want to deal with him and his mom. I think.
And that fully guaranteed deal that I think he's just won't back down on.
Yeah, and I don't think, dealing with an agent's one thing, but.
And that's what they've talked about, when you're like negotiating like with a boss or something, sometimes they say stuff that you might take personal. It's not personal, it's business. They're, looking at numbers and trying to talk to you. And then at that point, if you don't have an agent that can kind of separate that emotion out of the argument, it can be kind of hard.
Yeah, exactly. We lost one of our interior linebackers today, Cody Barton. He started all last season.
Where did he end up at? I don't know if I got.
Washington.
And it's one of those ones again, like Washington's kind of making some decent moves.
This guy, he was so weird. I don't know if I talked to you about him last time. He was either on or he was off. I mean, there'd be some games like the first game of the season. I thought he should have won NFC Defensive Player of the Week against the Broncos. And then there's other games where you're like, what are you doing? He'll take the worst angles, he'll arm tackle. You're like, what are you doing? But then again, we had one of the worst interior defensive lines in the NFL. It's like, how much is that really helping the linebackers?
Exactly, because your linebackers in a 4-3 are already a little smaller because they're more for pass coverage. Because again, you're 4-3, you need to have your D line.
We run 3-4 now. Last season,
Okay,
but
that again, you got to have for a 3-4. It's all about having a nose tackle, big beefy guy that can take double teams.
But everybody is so. We're in nickel. I don't know if you can look at
probably like 40% of the time.
Where can you look that up at? Pro Football Focus.
Sure.
Nickel percentage.
I want the Bills. I don't know why it keeps bringing up like Bills and Packers.
Defensive scheme, and that was from 2021. Yeah, it seems like they're a nickel more often than not anymore.
And we talked a little bit about that last podcast, how these safeties and stuff, for example, there's just so much nickel formations, big safeties, coverage linebackers.
Yeah, and I think they're almost going back because they were doing undersized linebackers for a long time. I mean, the whole NFL. It almost seems like they're going back to the big guys playing middle linebacker, and I kind of like that,
I agree. Like, yeah, that's not it either.
Yeah, I was trying to find it. It's probably somewhere really stupid where
It's like, I know there is a metric for it. I'm like, I've got some other metrics on like the offensive side, it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. Where lineup. Maybe lineup. Personnel nickel. It doesn't say the percentage that they lined up in it, but I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know.
I know it's a hard one to find.
It's probably super easy for somebody. They're probably like, oh yeah, click 57%.
I know, right? Literally.
But yeah, I want to say more than half we're in nickel. I could be wrong, but
I'd say somewhere between 20 to 40% of the time, most teams are in a nickel formation.
But if you look at it, a nickel 3-4 and a nickel 4-3 are the exact same thing, but one of them you slide a Will linebacker out or a Sam linebacker out, and the other one you slide the nose tackle out. So you have 2 defensive tackles, 2 defensive end, 2 linebackers.
Yeah, I'm looking at something talking about, these defensive coordinators' primary package used in 2021, and a lot of them are nickel 4-2-5s, basically, or big nickels.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Baltimore basically did that, running Chuck Clark, Marcus Williams, and Kyle Hamilton, 3 safeties, basically all the time as a big nickel.
Yeah, didn't Chuck Clark get traded? He was the one.
The Jets, a 2024 7th round pick. Really sad, but Chuck's one of those guys. He was the defensive call guy for the Ravens, and that's pretty crazy. The safety was relaying calls, which I thought created a problem. Roquan's going to take that over, and that's the thing. It's all because Patrick Queen couldn't. Our first round pick. Don't get me wrong, I love Patrick, but Patrick could not start as I forgot it's a Sam or Will, but he couldn't play one of the linebacker positions, and then also didn't do play calling duties really well, to the point that we had to give them to like Earl Thomas and like when he was there and Chuck Clark, you know what I mean? Like, and the back ends having to make the calls instead of starting from the front back, which is usually how it
middle.
goes.
The
Exactly.
middle. That's
So
usually the Mike's job, right?
exactly.
Wasn't Patrick Queen a middle linebacker?
That's what I'm saying. So in the 3-4, you have two middle linebackers. The Mike,
one's strong
Mike
side,
and Will,
one's weak.
Mike Sam, something like that. But so he played the other one and was playing so badly that we had to start Josh Bynes as the actual like middle Mike linebacker, basically. And so Roquan came in, stepped in day one, played it like that, and so that's again like we love Patrick Queen, but I expect that level of linebacker to be able to play either one in the middle. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we took our middle linebacker either right before or right after you guys did. I don't remember. Jordan Brooks. I think he was right before Patrick Queen because I think Queen was still on the board.
I'll say Jordan Brooks sounds so familiar too.
Texas Tech. It was
did he start as more of an edge rusher or edge player?
No.
Okay.
He's a true off-ball linebacker.
I'm thinking of all the guys that came in right around JJ. Like, what was those? Man, what was that linebackers they had down there in Houston when JJ Watt was there? I'm trying to think of their names. They had a hell of a linebacker core.
Oh, like Cushing.
Yes, Brian Cushing. God, I can't remember, but yeah, that was a good linebacker core.
I don't remember. I remember one was 56 and one was 50, but I don't remember the guy's
Cushing
name.
And I think it was Brian's, wasn't it?
No. Maybe you're right. D'Amico Ryans, maybe?
I know they did have him. I'll look at the 2009 NFL draft real quick. I'm like, I probably wasn't the same. Or was it like the year after? He had Brian Arakpo come out, Brian Cushing. Guess not. Oh, yeah, it was the year Ray Maluga came out too.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him.
I know. He was there for a long time for the Bengals. DeAndre Levy for the Detroit Lions too came out of that draft, like 4th round pick.
Yeah, they had Mario Williams and JJ Watt. I thought there was another like number 50 or something. Off ball.
I know. I remember they had Brian Cushing, I think D'Amico Ryans, and I swear one other person.
That's so weird. I know who you're talking about too. I just can't remember even his name.
An idea the
position.
2010.
Once I see it,
I know, right? Like,
I don't know. Maybe we're crazy because I just looked up 2011.
I know. I'm losing my mind because I'm like, I swear that like I'm not, but I'm like, I can't find anything. All the viewers are like,
maybe it was just JJ Watt and Cushing.
Maybe. I'm like checking now one more draft before I lose my mind. Oh well. But I'm trying to think here with some of the other. Oh yeah, the Patriots retaining Jonathan Jones was a big one on only a 2-year, $20 million deal. He was supposed to get a lot more.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Maybe they also had Mario Williams. Maybe that's who it is. D'Amico Ryans, Brian Cushing, Mario Williams, and JJ Watt. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Losing my mind.
I won this in an auction. It's autographed by Jonathan Jones.
Yo, that's dope. I actually know someone that would probably pay you for that. My Patriots buddy.
Like,
he loves Jonathan Jones.
Dude, I couldn't believe it. I was like, God damn it. I have so
Where did you enter the drawing at?
Oh, it was off some stupid eBay thing.
Oh, that's dope though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna do anything with them. Just like, I mean, look at all the Seahawks helmets right behind me. It's like I'm not gonna put a Patriots helmet up.
Shit, I'll hit him up, be like, "Hey, man, I got a boy that's got like an autographed Jonathan Jones helmet. Like, I know you probably want to add that to your Patriots collection."
Yeah, what I meant to ask you, what do you think of the Carolina Chicago trade?
Oh my god, I know. How can we not talk about that? I think that Chicago just ripped off Carolina. Like,
I don't think so. If
you don't
they,
think so?
I mean, maybe with adding the receiver DJ Moore, right?
Yeah,
That's who
with adding DJ Moore, I think it was too much. Like, because they moved freaking to what, ninth? Don't get me wrong, nine's a little low, I feel
yeah.
like, but they're
I,
still going to be able to get somebody probably because the quarterback run's starting early.
yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. I don't know. I heard that they might take Anthony Richardson first overall, and I think that would be the biggest mistake to trade up to the first overall pick.
For Anthony, I kind of agree there. Like, I don't know. I like the kid. I like what I've seen. I haven't watched enough tape yet on him, which is the big teller. So I can't like really endorse the kid. But like watching him throw at the combine, just like trying to watch his throwing motion and everything natural. Kid's got a little bit of potential. But number one, when you got guys like, and I'm not a big Ohio State guy. Like, I do not like Ohio State quarterbacks. But again, watching him throw, Stroud looked pretty good. I think
Yes,
if I remember right, in the deep ball, he actually had the longest ball when I was
I don't
watching.
either Stroud or Young, but I think taking Richardson would be the dumbest thing they do because I think they almost. I don't really know if he's going to go top 5. It might be one of those hype things, right? Like Malik
It
Willis.
really might be where someone's trying to get them to take Richardson and they really
Well,
want Young or Stroud.
remember Malik Willis last year? Everybody's going, "Oh, he's
Mhm.
a first rounder. He's a first rounder."
Which
No,
I was like, no. I was like, no,
he
too
fell to
developmental.
fell to the 3rd round,
Mhm.
and he was right
Yeah.
for it. You saw him play last year for the Titans. He wasn't very good.
Yeah, that's like he was too developmental in my opinion to be first round. Which again, I haven't watched. At least with Florida, there's a higher level of competition. Malik was playing at Liberty University, which when I is in Lynchburg, Virginia, which I did a work assignment in. I've been to Liberty. And it's also, by the way, a dry county. Um,
Wow.
yeah, we got there. I was like, oh, this is rough. I'm here for a work trip and it's dry. And there's a giant like Christian college that's Liberty University. I was like, this is gonna be a rough one, guys. Where's Hooters?
Yeah.
um, so he was way too developmental. At least like Florida has better competition. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I
I don't
believe I
know.
agree that they might be like trying to inflate his value a little bit.
I'm hoping somebody will. I'm hoping somebody will take him in the top 5. What I'm really hoping for is Atlanta or Vegas or anybody like that trades up to number 3 with Arizona. This is just as a fan, right? And then
Right.
at number 5, as long as they're not a quarterback, we get anybody in the whole entire draft.
And it really might fall that way. You get your choice between Carter, Anderson, or what's his name, Wilson from Texas Tech. Like
I don't think Wilson's better than.
Wilson is one of those ones. Again, he didn't do the combine, I don't think, but at his pro day, he's gonna or did or is gonna go nuts. He's got potential, and it kind of like I think that's Von Miller style. Von showed a lot of potential, but it was like a risky one. Like
I
it's
want
either
Will
gonna
Anderson.
work really well or be really bad. I feel like.
I want Will Anderson,
Oh, I agree.
or Jalen
Anderson.
Carter.
If Carter didn't have the whole like possible like criminal speeding or whatever and all that stuff, I'd take Carter. I really would. But I think with that involved, I think Anderson's a no-brainer. I think he's going to be a consummate pro and be an absolute animal. Like,
Yeah, we've never had an edge rusher. I mean, like that. Our best edge rusher we've had in the past 20 years is probably Michael Bennett. And I mean, Michael Bennett was damn good, but it's not like he was Khalil Mack. It's not like he was.
he had really good moves and despite his size was pretty strong. I think if I remember, even though he was like 6'4", I think he had kind of long arms, like
Yeah, he
which I
did.
think
And
helped him. Like
And those shoulder pads make him look even longer.
Hmm. Hey, man,
But
being able to move your arm and actually fight, that's important as shit.
that's why he did it, and he said there's less for them to grab onto, so
Yep. Yeah. So actually, like I've got like tons of notes from these are all just from the quarterback and throwing drills for the groups. And looking over my notes, yeah, Stroud put one ball all the way down at like the 28-yard line.
I
And in
think I saw
perspective, I
that
think the next ball was 30. Like
from the 20 though, right? Or something?
yeah,
Yeah.
like he launched that thing, bro. And you could tell like Levy's was really freaking trying. Yeah, he was number 8 in day 2. His longest ball went to 30 yards, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I could just, I don't know. I could see Vegas trading up to 3, even though they have Garoppolo, and taking, Anthony
That's a Raiders
Richardson.
move. That's a Raiders move.
Yeah.
And remember, we talked about the last podcast. I said, man, I could see Richardson going to Vegas. I just feel like he's a Josh McDaniels kind of guy.
I think he's a Mark Davis kinda guy.
That's
That's
kind of
the
true too. Jamarcus Russell 2.0.
and that's I think you said maybe they still remember that, but I don't think they ever will because they take guys. I mean, they took a kicker in the first round, you know,
Let me ask you, I don't know if you ever heard the story. Did you hear the story about Jamarcus Russell and like
and the
watching game
DVD.
tape? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he
Everyone
goes,
knows
"Oh,
that
yeah,
story.
yeah, I watched it, it all looked good," and he goes, "You sure?" "Oh, yeah, it looked great," and it was blank.
Yeah, absolutely hilarious. Like, let me see. I'm trying to find something here. What was the compensation on that trade again? Carolina Panther trade.
I don't know why.
All
Another
right.
thing I was thinking, so
Yeah.
what I was hearing about the Lamar thing.
Oh,
Okay,
I heard a rumor that they could trade the number 1 pick for Lamar, and they did that to make sure that the Ravens would agree to no left out of the quarterback market if we can't get Lamar back.
yeah, I
Sorry.
don't know. I heard, so say one of these teams that doesn't have a first round pick, right? So
Okay.
the 49ers, Dolphins, Broncos, Cleveland, and the Rams. So the only team that would be looking for a quarterback are actually none of them. But
We're like just about because Rams are in like rebuild mode.
and they said they're not willing to get rid of Stafford. So
Yeah, I wouldn't either, honestly. And their Rams are still 2 million over the cap, according to over the cap, so they still got to get under. Like
before tomorrow or
I think,
2 days.
yeah, or 2 days. Yeah, the 15th is the last day to get under.
But yeah, so I guess if they wait till the end of this year's draft, right?
Right.
The very next day after the 7th round, they can negotiate with Lamar Jackson and trade next year's first round pick and the year after that. And that would really screw the Ravens comparatively,
It
because you
would.
always want this year.
It really would. And it's one of those ones, no matter what, expect Baltimore to take a quarterback in this draft. I don't know when it's going to be, but I expect it probably in the first 4 rounds. Like, to be
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Well, if I was a
I think if
GM,
Stetson Bennett's sitting there in the 2nd or 3rd round, he's coming to Baltimore 100%. It's
you
just
think?
too it's just I mean, he ran 2 national championship offenses with Monken, who's now our offensive coordinator. It's just it makes
Oh,
too much sense to
I didn't even think
oh,
about that.
yeah, and that's why I've been heavy on Bennett. Even though Bennett's not my first choice, and that's the
Mhm.
thing. When Monken came to Georgia, Bennett took over as their starting quarterback, did well, won the championship. Came back the next year, ran a slightly different offense. They adjusted for personnel, and they won another championship, and he played even better. So it's one of those ones. Why not bring in a guy who's already knows basically kind of the system you want to run, has already shown he's improving in the system, like.
Yeah.
And if you grab him for a 3rd round to back up Lamar, I mean, he's probably going to play pretty well.
Well, say Lamar leaves, right? And you just want a 1-year starter, like a bridge guy. Who's their oh, they have Huntley already, right?
No, actually, Huntley's a free agent, if I'm
No
not
way.
mistaken. I'm not sure if
Oh,
he's restricted or
yeah.
unrestricted, but he's a free agent.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, because what was that deal? I wanted him last year.
Yeah, I
but
think he was restricted free agent last year, and we put
a
double check
tender in
here.
or whatever.
Yeah. It says he's a restricted free agent,
This
but I'm
year.
not sure. Yeah, this year. I think this is going to be his last year of being a restricted one. I've heard like different things about it. Trying to find something here.
I'm just trying to find
Tyler Huntley looked pretty good short game wise. He never throws the deep ball though, is the problem. Like I've never seen him throw a deep ball.
Really? Free agent rankings. You think they would? I couldn't believe that he made the Pro Bowl throwing 2
Yeah, that
touchdown
was garbage.
passes.
That was garbage. I'm a Ravens fan. He should have never been in the Pro Bowl. He was in the Pro Bowl from his hype from the previous year. Don't be wrong.
Yeah.
Like the previous year, bro, when he came in and Lamar was out, he looked good. And I expected him to look good this year. And then he took a run up the middle, got concussed, and when he came back, he did not look okay. Like in the next game, whenever he got cleared, was not throwing the same. I'm telling you.
So worst case scenario, these are your guys, okay? You ready?
Let's hear it.
For free agent quarterbacks, Jacoby Brissett, big playmaker Bayfield, and Teddy Bridgewater. Gardner Minshew, he's one that I really like.
I was about to say I could kind of see Gardner a little bit.
Marcus Mariota, Andy
That's
Dalton, Taylor Heineke, and that's all that's even on their list.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, if we trade Lamar, we free up like $32 million in cap space. Cool. We can actually afford to tender Huntley. I think we have to do our tenders by the 15th as well. Last day to issue RFA tenders. I got to put NFL there. Gotta double check. I thought the deadline had already passed, but no, that's only for franchise tags. Okay. March 15th. Yep. Teams must be under blah, blah, blah. Deadline to submit qualifying RFA offers. So that's the thing. As Baltimore sits right now, we don't even have enough cap space to issue him a tender.
Yeah. Quarterbacks make things suck, dude, when it
Someone's
comes
going to
to
give him a decent deal to be a backup. I kind of expected him kind of go to Miami, honestly.
I don't think anymore.
Of course, that's not happening.
Yeah, because who'd they sign today?
Mike White from the Jets.
Yeah, and
I think it's an excellent signing. I think that's a great signing.
You know what Geno Smith said? What a lot of quarterbacks won't. So they asked.
Would you like Tyler Huntley in the Seahawks?
I won him last year.
You don't want him this year?
No, not anymore. Because I think we need a young. I guess he's pretty young, right?
I mean, he's pretty young. Yeah, they call him Little Snoop. Like he's basically like I think maybe a year older than Lamar.
Yeah, that's the part I didn't really like. They were calling him Snoop Huntley. I'd rather just, I'm kind of old school with quarterbacks. I kind of, a name like Russell Wilson.
Like Huntley. Like, I don't know.
A name like Russell Wilson really rolls off the tongue compared to Snoop Huntley starting a quarterback.
Yep. I'd even take Lil Snoop over like Snoop Huntley. But I think it's also because like Snoop tweeted at him like a year ago when again he was balling, bro, when Lamar was out. There was people like Huntley can be our quarterback of the future, and I'm like, all right, hold your horses there. Like,
that's who I wanted.
Enough.
That's who I wanted the Seahawks to sign last offseason. I was real high on the guy. Nobody else was.
Great backup for y'all because again, Geno's not like he's huge, deep arm, great the huge immeasurable stuff. He's kind of just a really good mate. He learned. He's a good game manager. He follows the game plan. He listens. I think Huntley would have been a great backup for him.
Well, and that was the talk before the season last year. Is Geno Smith gonna win you a bunch of games? No, but is he gonna lose you a bunch of games? Maybe, but he didn't. So, and that's our thing. Is he won't win you a bunch of games, but he won't lose you a bunch of games. So as long as we can run that football.
It's one of those ones prior to Derek Carr, I really could have seen Huntley going to the Saints. Not looking for a big deal. They kind of want someone, especially to compete with Jameis probably at the time. Because they probably already were talking
too.
Yeah, and they probably were already in talks with him, to re-sign and everything. I'm trying to think where Huntley's going to end up. Like, because I don't think Baltimore is going to be able to afford to bring him back.
I think they will. I think he'll probably end up back there because
We've got to make like $2 million in cap space to even issue him the tender.
yeah,
That's
they'll
rough.
find
Like,
ways.
and at that point, he becomes an unrestricted free agent. And at that point, he's probably worth like at least, $7 to $6 million a season, as a backup, probably way more, honestly. Because like what Mike White got, 2-year, like 12 million, something like that. Or
2 years,
no.
16 million.
Yeah, so he's making 8 million a year. So Snoop can probably get 8 to 10 million a year, which then at that point makes it even harder for the Baltimore. At that point, we really can't keep him. Like, so we have to in the next 2 days do something, which I think we're going to see something happen with Marcus Peters, whether it's a rework of the contract or a release. Honestly,
Yeah, and I like him. He was
I
the
like him
only
too.
he was the only player during Chris Pearson's stint as head coach as the Huskies to actually get kicked off the team.
I mean, sometimes you gotta have a fiery kind of guy. Like,
yeah, no, he was yeah, just like I said, he coached the team from I want to say like 13 to 19 and maybe even longer than that, but Marcus Peters was the only player to ever get kicked off the Huskies.
what can we say? We're trying to rebuild the bullies of Baltimore.
Yeah.
And
No,
that's
I
the
think
he brings like a good attitude. I've heard like people talk about him when he was like Denver Rams, like he's bounced around a good bit, before he landed with us.
yeah, I think it was Kansas City and
Yeah,
LA.
Kansas City, that's right. Yep, not
Because
Denver.
I think that's the team that he threw the flag in the stands. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. Picked up the flag.
And then he thought he got ejected, so he started walking to the locker room, and they're like, "Hey, no, you're still playing. You need to get back on the field."
I can't believe they didn't eject him, to be honest. Like,
I can't
yeah, I
either.
like him. He's slowly losing a step, but like I like him. He's like for me that veteran guy, that really can teach the young kids and like help them along.
Yeah, that's the thing about those DBs. It's like they lose a step though, and it's like they almost just become a liability, right? So
Yeah. I think he's slowly moving less from like man coverage to I need to be playing some zone probably.
yeah. Well, what do you got? Anything else?
Let me see. The Jets signed Quincy Williams, the 27-year-old linebacker, 3-year, $18 million deal. Had like 80 tackles last night. I think he was a Jaguar.
Oh, is that where he was?
But they signed him to come shore up that. So again, that defense just got a pretty decent linebacker, 27-year-old linebacker, and then Chuck Clark on the back end for a safety. And then
Who's that? The Jets?
Yeah, the Jets. Quincy Williams, I believe. Let me double check on this.
How do they have money? What's going on with them? Well, I guess a lot of their players are super young. They're like us, right?
Yep.
So.
They've only got $8 million in cap. I think if the Jets are about to do the Aaron Rodgers, then they probably are going to go for over the caps. They're going to try to enter like a 2-year window. I'm looking at their cap numbers now, like where they could make money. I mean, there's not really. Let me see.
So,
Of course,
the deal is you have to be under the cap by the 15th, right?
Yes.
And then you can go back over after
For
that.
the season. Yep, you can go back over for the season. But the thing is, the reason you're encouraged not to do that is because you can also bankroll money like over like $20 million from over to the next year. And so that's like what the Bears did too. The reason they cut a lot this year too is so that they could roll more money over. The Browns have done it better than anybody. And that's why they can still sign people, is because they just kept rolling money over. I think like the NFL CBA and the NFLPA dictates you have to spend only like 89.1. Yeah, something like that on your players.
Yeah, there's a salary cap minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And
but that extra money you get to roll over to the next season.
Okay, so say the Jets, right? I'm just thinking. So on the 15th at 4 p.m. you have to be under the cap, right?
I believe so, yes.
Your time. At 4:01 p.m., can they go back over?
I think so, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not positive on that.
Maybe they're waiting. So. Maybe they're waiting till the 15th at 4:01 p.m. to trade for Aaron Rodgers.
That's probably what's going on. You're probably right on that.
I'm
Like the
probably
actual
not
interest part.
because Aaron Rodgers is so weird, and that's probably what's going on.
Mhm.
But I mean, I try to like think about little things like that would make it because I guess people say the deal's like done. So
And that's what I've seen, and I'm, like, trying to look at this roster, how they can make money. Because of course, like, if that happens, Zach Wilson's gone, but
no,
they
he's
can't
not. I
afford
don't think so.
you don't think I mean, with Mike White gone, you might not be wrong, though.
I think they're gonna let him sit behind him for 2 years.
You think so? I mean, it's
Yeah.
not a bad decision.
Was he
I'm really
really?
excited to see Jordan Love, like, I really am.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to like Green Bay again. I really don't like Aaron Rodgers at all.
It's one of those ones I'm iffy on him. I'm like, I love him in it, but at the same time, I'm like, yo, why you gotta say all this, like, weird stuff?
Yeah,
Uh
exactly.
The Bengals, signed or extended, re-signed Jermaine Pratt, 3-year, $21 million deal.
Yeah, I
Honestly,
saw that.
I think that's gonna be one of the better deals. They signed him. He never hits a cap number over $8 million, yet his play last year by over the cap was evaluated at 8.7.
Oh,
So you
okay.
just signed him for 3 years as, like, almost a franchise linebacker. He had 60 plus tackles, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble.
These linebackers, they're not making very much money.
They're not. I've noticed that.
The only one that is Tremaine Edmonds, I think.
Yep. And honestly, I really expected him to push closer to Roquan's number because, of course, Roquan set the market when we signed him.
What's his
Um,
cap number? What's
dude,
Tremaine Edmonds?
Tremaine Edmonds, I think he signed for an average of like 18 mil, which
Yeah,
everyone
that's what,
expected 20 mil to be the number, kind of.
well, that's what I'm thinking. So I want to bring back Bobby really bad to Seattle,
Mhm.
right?
I know,
And
right?
he only made $7.5 million with the Rams last year when it came down to it.
Which they probably owe him like money no matter what next year. I don't know how because they mutually agreed to part ways, so maybe they don't.
Well, they did Bobby a favor. I guess Bobby asked.
Because they knew they were in rebuild mode. He went there to win a Super Bowl, and they did not even come
But
close.
I think we get him at a good price. I was on with those 49ers guys on Friday night, and they asked about Bobby Wagner, and I go, okay, well, if Patrick Willis went and played 1 year for Arizona and then asked for a release, you wouldn't want him back. You know what I
Exactly,
mean? Say
exactly.
great.
Like, we had that happen with Ed Reed.
Yeah, but he didn't come back, did he? With
He didn't
every
come back. We wanted him back, but he wouldn't come back for the right number,
and
is
I
what it
mean
was. It was sad.
he's a defensive back though.
Exactly. He was a center field safety that really lost a step, like, hard. Like,
Yeah, but like, say, did Terrell Suggs went somewhere else. He went to Arizona at one
yeah,
point.
he did. He went to Arizona. You're right.
Remember that. But yeah, no, basically,
Sad again. Ray
you're
Lewis got to test free agency because of the Joe Flacco contract. And that's again why Baltimore doesn't want to screw up this quarterback contract and our owner has been vocal about that constantly. We had to let a Hall of Fame, our Bobby Wagner, even test free agency. And it's not like
that's
Ray Lewis was asking for a lot.
that's what I was gonna say. So if Ray Lewis went and played one season for the Browns,
I would have been heartbroken.
yeah,
Heartbroken.
and that's
Like,
how we were. So Russell Wilson came back. We all booed him. The moment he was on the field, I booed him. Everybody else around me was booing him. Bobby Wagner comes back. He gets a standing ovation because he didn't want to leave.
yeah.
He didn't
It
ask to
was
leave.
business. It was just the
Yeah.
business. And no one really kind of maybe like you, like hardcore fans but I don't think anyone really expected Geno and the Seahawks to be as good as they were this year.
I was thinking 7 wins, so not even as good as they were. I mean, they got 9 wins and made it to the playoffs. I was thinking 7 wins. I didn't think we were gonna be as bad as everybody thought because Pete Carroll's our head coach, and
and you got a solid defense.
we
Let me
don't
ask you,
though.
who's your backup quarterback right now?
Nobody. Drew Lock was last year,
Let me ask you, what's your plan for that? What would you like to see the Seahawks do with that as the
and then
backup?
Hooker.
Oh, that would be so good, though. That could
Because
happen. That could happen.
so, Geno's
If the
cap.
Ravens don't snap them up, be honest, that would be a good Ravens pick too.
Yeah,
Later.
so Geno Smith, he God, his cap hit's like $24 million.
It's nothing. Nothing.
Maybe it's less than that. I don't remember. It's like really small. You can look
See
it
if I
up.
can pull it up here. Seahawks. By the way, y'all still are sitting at $20 million in cap. See, it's weird. It says y'all have $20 million in cap. It says effective cap $9 million. I don't understand why that is. I'm guessing, like I said, I think there's performance raises for some people. There's, so if they finish the year, like a lot of these contracts will say it's, $11 million with up to $15 million in performance escalators. And I think
Okay,
that's what that's about.
so Geno Smith's cap hit is 10.1
I know, I
million.
was just about to say 10.1, and next year it only goes to 31,
Yeah,
which is again nothing. Next year, 33, still nothing. Like you're basically getting your bridge, like potential franchise quarterback, maybe. Who knows?
I don't
He
know.
might
So
keep
I
getting
think
better.
the way that everybody here is looking at it is it's basically a 1 year prove it contract again with him, right? So if we have a guy like Hendon Hooker just sit behind him for a year because he has that ACL injury, right? And
Which would be ideal.
if he's the guy, you can cut Geno, have a quarterback on a rookie contract, and his dead cap is only $17 million, which I guess sounds like a lot, but it's not.
Really isn't. It really isn't. Like compared
Compare
to like
that.
case in point, Aaron Rodgers is going to hit dead cap on the Packers for the next three after next year. So it's like 2024, 2025, 2026, I think. Like
Mhm.
35 plus million dead cap hit every year for 3 years. Again, talk about crippling a fucking team. And that's why I talked about in my Green Bay video. I said you're gonna have to roll money over to start prepping for all that dead cap. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because if they
compare
don't,
that.
sorry.
So say the Broncos wanted to cut Russell Wilson, right? So this is an easy comparison for
Ooh,
Seahawks
ooh.
fans. Do you know what the dead cap would be this year?
I'm
Just
gonna
take a
guess
guess.
43 million.
$107 million.
Mm, mm, mm. Like, good luck trying to get your team together. Like with that, like you know what I mean. Like,
And then the next year, $85 million. They could
like
move on from him in 2025 with a dead cap hit of $49 million.
like so fucking crazy. Like that's why I'm like, that's why I can't get behind sometimes these teams. What they're doing with the quarterbacks. Like Gabe's point, Lamar wants that guaranteed contract. It could fuck us for years.
But at least you've seen what he
Let
looks
me
like
see.
in
Like
the
case in
system,
point, let's look
right?
at Deshaun Watson. Yeah, Deshaun Watson, if he gets cut next year, $136 million dead cap hit. Like you were like we were just talking about. And again, 2025, 72 million.
Yeah, they're stuck with
2026,
these guys.
8 million. Yeah.
But the difference is with Lamar and say those other quarterbacks, at least you've seen him in your system and you know what he is compared
Yeah.
to
Even though we are changing our systems. But yeah, like no one knows Lamar better than us.
yeah, exactly. Compared to the Broncos, right? They threw around picks. They paid him this money before he took a snap with Denver.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, I guarantee you think they would have paid him that money if he'd played the full year? No, not even.
Hell no. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about that trade though, the Panthers Bear trade.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like so the Panthers gave number 9 this year, number 61, their second round pick, next year's first and second, as well as the DJ Moore. So like I use a draft trade chart. The Ravens actually were one of the first teams to invent like this chart basically and really use it. So
Mhm.
let's look at this trade chart. The first round pick is valued around 3,000, which I'll admit is overinflated, but it's because you can really determine the way the draft's going to go. You can control everything. The
Yeah.
pick for number 9 is valued at 1,350. Like, so 1,700 difference. They gave
Mhm.
up that first round pick next year. Their second round pick was valued at like 500. Like, I don't know. The first round, the second round, and the second round, I get. But DJ Moore in there too, I feel like they gave up way too much. When again, the board might have been able to work their way if they were just patient a little bit. Could have probably still gone to 5 and got exactly who they wanted for way less.
I don't know,
If we're
though.
looking at the trade chart, that second round pick would have covered the entire trade, basically, if not less.
I don't know, because look at this though. So San Francisco traded up to get Trey Lance at number 3 overall in 2021.
Mhm.
They traded the number 12 overall pick, their first round picks in 22 and 23, and a third round pick in 22. I mean, that seems pretty even to what the Panthers traded.
I would argue though that the Niners roster was way better than the Panthers roster. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
no, I get that.
losing all that depth for years, the Niners pulled it off. But if like case in point, Trey Lance like kind of worked out, kind of didn't. You
I don't think
know
he has because think about,
exactly.
he played
Was
2
it
games
worth all
last
those
year.
picks? Was it worth all
No,
those picks? Hell no.
no, and that's what I mean. So that's why I kinda hope it works out for Carolina
I,
just because
they're
I
like my
I
second team, like because I
they're
grew up
not
watching
mine.
Carolina.
I don't give a rat's ass about them, to be completely honest, but I'm really tired of everybody riding the Bears' dick this offseason. "Oh, the Bears," they're
Now of course, we got to address that. Like, hold on, I got to go to my NFC North notes here. Like, so of course, DJ Moore, great. Nate Davis, 3 years, 10, 30 million. I think they overspent there to start with.
he's a
Tremaine
guard,
Edmonds,
right? Or is he a tackle?
yeah, offensive guard,
Yeah.
yeah. Ben Powers, I think. Let me go to my Ben Powers. Where did I'm trying to remember where he ended up again? Oh yeah, Broncos. So Ben Powers got 4 years, 52 million. Like I don't know, Nate Davis. I don't think's worth 10 million. I think he's worth closer to 7 million. Tremaine Edmonds, okay for that price, but it's also they just paid JT Edwards, a linebacker, 3 year, 19.5. I think they overpaid there. And I think they're about to overpay for Orlando Brown, like grossly overpay for Orlando Brown.
Yeah, I
And the
think
rumors are saying that.
well, if you think about it too, these teams that always throw huge money around in free agency never win the Super Bowl.
It
I
doesn't
mean,
normally go well.
the Rams did it and the Buccaneers kinda did it, but the Buccaneers had Tom Brady and he was
They already
recruiting
had like a
players.
pretty good team, like already in
Yeah,
place.
they had a great defense, and then
Mhm.
Tom Brady was recruiting people.
Exactly. Like case in point, Leonard Fournette when he got let go, he's like, oh, I'm just gonna go to Tampa just to get that Super Bowl ring real quick. Like, I don't need to go there. Like,
Wait, who were you talking about?
Leonard Fournette whenever he went to Tampa.
Oh, I thought you said Antonio Brown. I was like, dude, that guy's such a
Oh my
I
god,
wanted
when
to
everyone was talking about him coming to the Ravens, I'm like, please no. Please
Yeah, they
no.
did the same thing with us and the Seahawks, and I was like, "Ah, no.
I ain't
He's
want
not
nothing to
worth
do
the
with that
headache."
headache. He's not worth that headache.
I
Don't
don't
remember, I
even
watched that dude tear us up as a Steeler for years. Like,
I don't even think OBJ is worth the headache, and he's nothing
I don't think
compared
he
to
is either. I just my problem with OBJ is the injury problems. Only
he's
getting him for maybe 6 games a year.
he's probably the only player I was shocked last season. He was on commercials during the football season.
I think he was. I think like was not FanDuel. I think I saw a few commercials though with him. Do you
He's
know
the
he
only
sued or Nike or Adidas, whoever his shoe person is? He's trying to sue them. I think it's Nike.
I don't know, but he was probably the only player that I've ever seen not actually play for a team all season and still have commercials. I was like, "What is going on?"
He's trying to accuse Nike that they're like actively trying to not sell his whatever brand sneaker and blah 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 blah, and sales have dropped and he's trying to blame. And of course, I read the report. I'm like, it can't be that you haven't played in over a freaking year. Basically, you're
Yeah.
not really relevant and by any means, and you're an athlete. Your marketing is being out on that field. So if you're not on the field, you're not really marketing your stuff. So no, it couldn't be that, OBJ. It has to be Nike's got it in for you.
No,
Like,
he's always on social media posting stuff, and
mhm.
I wanna
The
do a list
Giants
on
were
this
good till he got in there and ruined the locker room.
I wanna do a list on this channel one day of, maybe we'll do that next Monday. We'll do, your top 10 best, worst Antonio Brown moments. We'll make a list of it.
Oh my God, diva wide receiver moments.
I think you can make a full list of Antonio Brown, but yeah, I think diva wide
Could
receiver
be
moments would
honest.
be a good
It
one.
could be honest.
Because
Titans signed a tackle, Andre Dillard.
yeah, I saw that. Where'd he come
So
from again?
he came from Philly. He was the right tackle in Philly, supposedly known as like a pass block specialist, so a really shitty run blocker,
Which
and
is
had a couple injury issues.
the worst possible. Yeah, he went to Wazoo actually. I
Mhm.
saw that. He's from Washington State, is what I
He's
mean.
one of those ones. It's either going to be a really good signing or bad. But again, scheme wise, it doesn't make sense because it's the Titans.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think that was just they were so desperate and they didn't get. They probably wanted McClinchy or whatever his name was.
I heard they're shopping Derrick Henry,
I've heard the same thing.
which I
And
mean would make sense because he has a lot of miles on those tires.
Mhm.
But I mean, maybe he's a Frank Gore, you know. But
I think he is. I think he's still got a lot of value. Like, and again, they were just so dependent on him. You know what I mean? Like they had nothing else. They had Ryan Tannehill, who couldn't ever get the ball to AJ Green or not AJ Green. What's his
AJ
name?
Brown.
AJ Brown. Thank you. Couldn't even get the ball to him half the time. Like, and everyone knew that. I think like other than us, the Tennessee Titans saw the most amount of stacked formations, stacked boxes in the NFL. Everyone
Yeah.
stacked the box against Lamar, and they did against him.
So we played the Titans in 2021 season opener, home opener, and the first half, I mean, we held the Titans to nothing. And we were up big. I think we were up by 3 scores. And there's a Titans fan next to me, and I go, as long as we hold number 22 in check, we're gonna win this game. No, he torched us. He scored like 3 touchdowns by himself in the second half. And I went and ordered his jersey right afterwards because I was like, man, I hated him that day, but as a running back, I totally respect
Dude,
that.
exactly. I like I watched him a few times, and of course he played my Ravens a few times, and I'm like, nothing but respect, my guy. Like,
And usually
he was one of those ones where it's the first round pick.
and he wasn't even. He was a second round
Yep.
pick.
Like steals. J.K. Dobbins, I feel like has never gotten utilized properly in Baltimore because of course he got hurt the previous year, and then Harbaugh was like super slow working him back this year. I think J.K. Dobbins was a steal in the second round when we took him from Ohio State.
There's so many good running backs, and I thought that way was going to start with receivers because I thought it was going to go one or two ways with the AJ Brown trade. Either Traylon Burks was going to show up and be a monster, and then people were going to go.
Kid, if I'm not mistaken.
What's that?
I think he came from Arkansas, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. And he didn't. And now the receivers are overvalued because of that trade. I mean, it could have went one or two ways.
And exactly, like basically what we're seeing is, man, if you want a wide receiver, you got to go to the trade market. You're not going to be able to ever find one in free agency because for wide receiver is a pretty damn hard position too. Like to truly master and like, I don't know, man. Some of the cuts these guys do when I'm watching them, I'm like, I don't think my knee could ever take that.
Yeah, that 2019 draft though. So we drafted DK Metcalf, Devo Samuel.
I wanted Metcalf. Fuck you.
So there was DK Metcalf, Devo Samuel, Terry McLaurin, Hunter Renfro. God, there was
Sox D guy.
Yeah, that's what you were telling me last time.
Yeah, Sox D, South Carolina.
But yeah, there was so many receivers, and then I think teams started to go, oh well, this is easy to find them, and starting to be like running back.
And they were talking about DK going, I think, like top 5, and he just kept sliding and sliding to y'all. Like that was one of those ones, like, oh shit, well, yep, definitely taking him. Like, or did y'all trade up? I thought he slid to y'all.
He did, but then we traded up. So what happened was we had the 19th pick or 23rd, something like that, you know. And then we picked Jordan Brooks. He's a middle linebacker. And then after that, the second round comes, and I'm like, okay, you have to get DK Metcalf. You have to get that. Nope, they drafted somebody else.
Yeah, y'all drafted him as number 64.
Yeah, it was the last pick of the second round.
That's so ridiculous that he even got to there, in my opinion. Like, I can't believe that.
Well, he had a neck deal, you know.
A lot of people scared a lot of people off, right?
Yeah, but look up the 2019 receiver class on your computer. Just look up wide receivers 2019 draft class.
Let's see. Yep, DK Metcalf. Oh, come on. I hate when there's like some places they're like, "Hey, you only have this many free articles."
Oh, I hate that too.
Of course, that's not. All right, here we go. So yeah, we had AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel, Terry McLaurin, Marquise Brown, DK Metcalf, McCole Harmon, Darius Slade, Deontay Johnson, the Steelers guy, Hunter Renfrow, and then Preston Williams, who's with the Dolphins now.
I don't know the last one, but
last
yeah,
guy had
it was,
pretty like, stacked wide receiver class. Like,
yeah, so I think teams looked at that class and goes, "Oh, well, this is easy. We can do this." Because a team could have literally started from scratch, picked every receiver in that draft class, and they'd have had the best receiving core in the history of the NFL.
And what's just so crazy, AJ Brown, 51st overall. Deebo Samuel, 36 overall. Terry McLaurin, 76 overall. Of course, Marquise Brown was a first-round pick. But, like, legitimately, you could have potentially ended up with using DK Metcalf second round. You could have potentially got Terry McLaurin third round, and then, like, Darius Slayton all the way in the fifth round, or Deontay Johnson again in the third. Hunter Renfrow in the fifth.
Johnson.
Like, he's like little Antonio Brown, man. His route running is, again, whoever the wide receiver coach is for the Steelers has done it right for years. Like, they develop wide receivers. And I'm so jealous because Baltimore can't do it to save our fucking lives.
Yeah, who had Mike Wallace first? Was it the Ravens or the Steelers? Was it the Steelers?
Who?
Mike Wallace.
Yeah, the Steelers. Yep, the Steelers. Wallace was part of the Steelers for a long time. Huge deep threat, and then he played for us for 1 or 2 years, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. They always have good receivers over there. And then look at that Claypool trade. They ended up with the 32nd overall pick. I mean, how dumb is that?
You know, it was the dirtiest thing I've ever seen lately. That the Claypool was at the draft and announced the pick where they took Pickens from Georgia, who is literally the same build as him. They had him announce his replacement, bro. Like, literally. Like,
and they worked out. I mean, it worked out for them.
Oh, dude, Pickens is a stud. Like, again, that was another one. I'm like, damn it. Pickens was another one I was looking for the Green Bay Packers and us to take, basically. Of course, they'd already taken Christian Watson, I think.
Yeah, and he's turned out pretty good. I think.
Oh, and again, he was one I was high on. I'm like, again, if he can learn a playbook, he's got all the measurables, you know?
Yeah, I think it took him about half a year to get going, but once he got going.
I mean, like, it's just one of those ones, like, guys that came out of, like, Georgia Tech, you know, talking about like Calvin Johnson, Demaryius Thomas for the Broncos a while back. They talked about, dude, all they did in Georgia Tech was run fucking vertical routes, basically. It was either running the triple option or go deep. Like,
that was the biggest knock on DK, other than his neck, is
he didn't do a lot of route running.
Yeah, they go, can he run routes? But I mean, look at the guy.
He proved it. He proved it. I will never forget that. I forgot what team y'all were playing. He ran a slant route and they tried to like level him, and he leveled whoever tried to hit him and just walked off.
Yeah, that was against the Niners a couple years ago. He just caught the ball. He didn't even catch.
He got hit by 2 people and just boom.
Yeah, that was the worst. So we basically he didn't catch the ball. That was the only bad part.
I thought he caught it at least. Damn.
But I just like we basically have Cam Chancellor playing wide receiver right now.
Literally.
I wish he.
Honestly, I'd even argue DK's more freakishly athletic than Cam was. Cam was pretty athletic though.
Cam wasn't like athletic. He was a.
He ran like 4.5, I think 40. Like not like that crazy 40, but like very respectable. And his height allowed him that long stride. Even if he ran a 4.5 40, put him in 100 yards. Check his speed then.
Well, Cam was just a monster on the football field, and that's what's different between
his bench press. I think if I remember, he had a high bench press number for a safety. Like he was like upper body, he could take you.
Well, with him and Earl back there, we were spoiled for such a long time, right? And then they
Literally.
both leave, and then Sherman leaves. It's not the
Yeah.
same. Back in the day when they used to announce a team, that they do the defensive starters every other game, and they go Seattle's Legion of, and the stadium would go boom, and yeah, and it was fucking sweet. You'd see Cam Chancellor leaving the tunnel doing his like that. It was sick.
And it's one of those ones after the really bad injury season. I feel like they started kind of losing a step a little bit, especially Cam. Like being that 6'5" frame, it's hard to not lose a step. Like, because again, you start not being able to make those quicker cuts that sometimes you need, like especially on the underneath routes.
I'd argue that he was the one that didn't lose a step out of
Really?
all of them. Yeah, but he had a bad neck injury that I guess
That's what it was.
if he did it, like if he got hit wrong again, he could be paralyzed.
But that's because he was never afraid to hit somebody. Like,
no, you can watch.
That's why you love him.
Yeah, that's why everybody did. I mean,
Ed Reed used to be like that, and then he fucked up his neck, and he stopped kind of going for tackles as hard.
Yeah, I don't know. Cam Chancellor, if his career was 4 years longer, he'd be a Hall of Famer like Ed Reed.
Absolutely agree. I would agree with you on that.
But I don't know, the Seahawks defense back in the day, I just love thinking about it, and there'll never be a good defense like that again. I think we were the last good one.
Like that was right when our defense was starting to lose its dominance, and then everyone was talking about the Legion of Boom is the new defensive standard in the NFL. Like I'll never forget that.
But I think we'll be the last one just because we're the last ones to make a bunch of rule changes about us. I mean, it
was historic. It was historic that year. Y'all won the Super Bowl.
I look at top 3 defense of all time. I think the 2000 Ravens, the 85 Bears, and the 13 Seahawks, and that was.
I know, good times, such good times. Like, and see, the Ravens have had a long history of bringing in like defensive ends that work. Like Calais Campbell is our new example, but a lot of people don't realize like Trevor Price played for us for a long time, and I think Trevor Price was not an original Raven. God, what was Shannon Sharp? Not original Raven. Of course, that's not defensive, but
Rod Woodson.
I'm trying to think of our other outside linebacker who played for us for a long time, other than Terrell. It was when Terrell first got there. We drafted him out of Arizona.
Jamie Sharper, maybe.
Maybe. Oh my god! Now it's gonna drive. I have to figure out that one.
Yeah, we got Jamie Sharper. I think he was on your 2000 team. We actually had him. Actually, he's right here. This was my first ever primetime game I went to. And that's Jamie Sharper on the front.
Oh, man. Talk about like good times. Like,
I have a stack of these programs. I have a program from every game that I've been to. And oh my god, I have like hundreds of
Peter Boulware. That's who I was thinking.
Oh yeah,
he was the opposite of Jamie Sharper.
Yeah, I forgot all about him.
I know, dude. Like I said, we were spoiled back then. Like Chris McAllister was a stud when he came out. Samari Roll was a stud when he came out of college. Like
I can't believe you look back and at Deion Sanders' career, and I forget that he played for the Ravens.
He came over for a little bit too. Yep. Came over, played a little bit for us. Yeah. We got Ed Reed right after him. Again, spoiled. Like,
yeah, exactly. But offensively, not so spoiled, It seems like.
I'm excited to see, too, what the Falcons do with the rest of their money for cap. I don't know if you saw they signed Chris Lindstrom. They brought him back 5-year, $105 million. Now, he's kind of worth it, though.
Yeah, I saw that. I honestly think it's one of those teams that might wait till after the draft and then go, oh, hey, Lamar, we're ready to talk to you now.
They really could. And I think that's everyone talks about. That's the worst case for Baltimore. It really is, like you said earlier, even. Panthers getting Von Bell. That's going to be a good signing. I'd never heard of this other guy, Shy Tattle, defensive lineman. They signed him 3-year, $19.5 million.
Oh, Shy Tuttle?
Yeah.
I actually have heard of him just because we play the Saints so much. He was decent. Interior defensive lineman, more like a run stuffer.
Yeah. I mean, their defense did pretty good just considering everything that happened. So, I mean, bringing in Von Bell and Shy Tattle helps shore it up a little bit. But now I mean, you're in fucking rebuild mode with trading for that first overall pick. Yeah, you're gonna have a quarterback, but who was your wide receivers? Who's your tight ends? Like, do you have an offensive line even at this point? Like, didn't seem like it last year.
Part of me feels like the first overall pick's almost just as much to sell jerseys.
I kind of agree. Like, and Carolina needs some hype. But like I said, I saw a rumor that basically said most of the teams that needed a quarterback needed to get into the top 4 for if they were going to give 2 first rounds for Lamar. You got to get in the top 4. And so I wonder if that was
but
part
if
of
you but if you agree to a deal with him anyways, all you got to do is give up your 2 first round picks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
but that's
obviously,
you also kind of talking with the owner. A lot of people are saying they don't want to do it because why would you negotiate a contract? Because if you get Lamar to agree to a whatever contract that's not fully guaranteed, Baltimore's probably going to match it unless there's an agreement in place.
But I mean, obviously this isn't going to happen, but we'll just spitball this as an example. So say someone does want to make a trade offer for Lamar instead of doing the 2 first round picks, right?
Right.
The offer sheet, they're going to have to give up 2 first round picks anyways.
No matter what, yeah.
So, I mean, basically, say the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Like I said, it's never going to happen. So they're picking last in the draft this year. They could make an offer with Lamar, right? Trade that number 31 pick and next year's number 32 pick. Presuming they win the Super Bowl, they probably won't, but you know what I mean? The Ravens could really get screwed with this.
I mean, the thing is, so of course, the thing is, if anyone tries to sign the offer sheet, we have 5 days to match it. So, and that's the thing, no one's willing to put the time in to do all these contract negotiations with Lamar directly, which is a headache.
Yeah.
And supposedly, like, everyone's waiting until the 15th, and then they're going to call Baltimore and say, okay, so what was the best contract you offered him?
You think they're really going to tell him, though? You think they're really going to be like, oh, yeah, we offered him this? That number.
I mean, Lamar's going to tell him. Lamar's going to tell him, basically. So I don't see a real reason like to lie about it. I again think Lamar has just drawn that line in the sand, wants the fully guaranteed money. And I mean, like it was like you just said, if someone wants to not, do the offer sheet, but do a trade, they're still on Baltimore's terms. And Baltimore's not going to agree to anything lower than probably 2 first round picks. Unless maybe it's that first overall pick.
Those 49ers fans are so spoiled over there.
They really are.
There's a big thing on Twitter about, do you think we should trade Bosa and 2 first round picks for Lamar?
I was about to say, man, McCaffrey and Lamar. Whoo,
all their fans are fighting. It's one of those hypotheticals that's never going to happen, right? But they're all arguing.
Yeah, highly unlikely. But I mean, if you got to compete, you got to do something to really get over. And of course, they know we're literally just a quarterback away from this. Of course, Purdy could be that guy,
But that's the thing with the 49ers. That's why I'm so jealous of them, because they don't even need a quarterback. I mean, they need a quarterback to throw the ball.
Kind of. It's one of those, like I said, if Aaron Rodgers ended up in 49ers, can you imagine? That team is automatic favorite for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, just playing them.
But they're $2 million over the cap, so they really don't have the money to do anything either.
The Niners?
Yeah. But I guess technically, let's take a look here.
They just signed Hargrave today.
Yeah, I think that's included. So again, they're probably got something projected because it's showing that puts them $2 million over the cap. Yeah, Hargrave's going to be only a $6 million hit this year. Going into next year, Hargrave's only going to be a $15 million hit next year. Are you serious, bro? What a steal! Third year though, $26 million starts really jumping after that.
Yeah, but
I expect they'll rework it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Jamel Dean signed back with the Buccaneers. Levante David's still available. Jacoby Myers still available.
Yep. Thing is, too, the 49ers can't cut Lance to save money if they wanted to bring a veteran. So it's one of those ones, hypothetical, but man, looking at numbers, there's no way, especially after the Hargrave signing.
I guess what they did was they took Jimmy G's money from last year, right? Basically, and made that Hargrave instead, which is.
I mean, that's a smart signing, in my opinion. I'm trying to figure out where I've actually seen some talk that they might have to let someone go because they're not going to be able to rework deals. I'm like trying to look where they could rework a deal, restructure, save. I mean,
They've
they've got a lot of options for restructuring. Like,
this guy that I was on with on Friday, he had a whole spreadsheet going on, and ideally, from what he was showing, it looks like they're in a good situation. So
yeah, like I said, looking at the restructure where they can like restructure and save. Supposedly, they could restructure just Trent Williams' contract and save 13 million right there.
yeah, and I think Fred Warner was another one they could
Yeah, he
restructure.
8 million, almost 9 million. George Kittle, Eric Armstead, which I've seen a lot of talk about Eric Armstead either being restructured or potentially them just if they might be able to cut.
I'm afraid of him.
Yeah,
Trust me, they don't want to let him go.
yeah.
He's
But they
good.
could if between tackle choices, they could choose between Trent Williams and Eric Armstead and save 13 to 16 million by cutting one of the two. Which now, because again, they've got to make not only the 2 million to get under by the 15th, but you got to have like 2 to 5 million to sign your draft class. And then you got to have extra money if injuries happen, preseason and camps and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So they're still going to have to make a little bit of money. But
yeah.
I'm a fan. I'm not a fan of restructuring contracts, pushing money to later years and fucking your team down the road, kind of.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah, I
What's
don't
some
know.
other ones we got going on here? Bates and Lindstrom going to the Falcons. Jamal Dean, like you saying, re-signing with the Bucks.
And
That's
or
really
the
kind of, I feel like, all the big stuff that's kind of happened so far.
yeah, there's a lot of shit that happened
Oh,
today with them.
just came out, which this has been talking about a lot. Zach Allen going to the Broncos, 3 years, 45 million. He's another one of those guys, like the guy you signed, the defensive tackle with 6.5 sacks.
I thought we were gonna sign Zach Allen.
Yeah, and I think that's basically y'all Zach Allen. Zach Allen's another guy that's got potential breakout. But the thing why everyone was calling Zach Allen to the Broncos, I guess Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator, was his guy. He performed really well in the system, but it was just Zach Allen, I think, in Arizona was just didn't have the chance to really start.
Vance Joseph is having the time of his life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he just got his guy that he thought was going to be a future star.
You've seen that, right?
I don't think I have.
The ESPN sideline reporter, and he didn't know what he was doing. It was like his first day, and he goes,
Oh,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Vance Joseph having the time of his life. So Zach Allen's off the board to Denver.
Yeah, and man, like Denver's starting to put some pieces around Wilson.
They said
Will
that
it be enough?
year.
Exactly. Like literally.
My favorite meme about the Broncos, and like they go, if you weren't a fan of us with 5 and 12, don't be a fan at 6 and 11. All right,
Oh my God, how many high knees are we gonna get next year?
Yeah.
How many players is Russell Wilson gonna piss off on overnight flights?
That's what we should do is, top 10 Antonio Brown moments next to top 10 cringiest Russell Wilson moments right there.
Let's ride.
Well, you guys never saw it. The national media never saw it until he went to Denver. There was so much shit that he'd say over here that was worse than what he was doing over there. And we'd make fun of him so much on the local radio and stuff. There was one where he goes, it's Easter Sunday out there and your wife weighed no hair or something like that. Just, talking all weird like that.
I saw his wife at their like red carpets, basically like wearing literally nothing. I don't know if you saw that.
Have you seen the one where he signed his last contract with the Seahawks? He's in bed naked with his wife and he goes,
which was Future's wife at the time, I think.
No, way after that. But yeah, that's another thing is, yeah.
I heard one of his lyrics recently, how you go from being a housewife to something like that, to like a hoe, basically calling her out. I was like, ooh, shots fired.
Yeah, they.
Oh yeah, how you go from being a housewife to a sneaky link.
But yeah, what do you say? Oh yeah, he goes, "Hey Seattle, we got a deal," and then you got Sierra in the background, "Go Hawks!" He only became like this when he married her.
Yo, women really can change you. That's all I'm saying. Like,
But
you are who you surround yourself with.
Russell Wilson never had a personality to begin with, and then he started having one of which he is not.
That's why I think he loved Pete Carroll. Like the whole, like I think when Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson got there, yoga became a big thing for the Seahawks. And like, like there was a whole cultural change. And I was like, okay, okay. And then Russell Wilson was like, I need a life, found a wife, and
Well, no, he was married before.
oh, that's right, he was, wasn't he?
The rumor was that Golden Tate slept with his wife, and that's why they divorced, and that's why Golden Tate never came back.
Ooh.
But nobody knows if that's true or not. So,
yeah, I'm looking over like these free agents, trying to see. I'm interested to see. I'm not a huge fan of Clowney, but I'm interested to see where he's gonna land.
trust me, don't be. He was nothing but hype here.
I
He
mean,
put
that's exactly. He's usually hype. When he's on, he's freaking on, bro. But half the time, I'd say like 60% of the time, he's not.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
actually, I'd say 70% of the time. Like,
He had one game where he looked like just an all-pro when he played with us.
he has to have someone on the opposite edge.
Yeah,
He's not good
exactly.
enough like, and of course, he got famous because the USC tape where he blew up that Michigan halfback, and then
Yeah.
became a combine star.
I think he was South Carolina.
Yep,
Oh,
USC. Yep.
sorry, your USC is way different than my
I know
USC.
it messes with me too. Like, trust me, like, because when I tell people, I'm like, I got to meet USC. I'm like, hold on, University of South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yeah, I was like, what is he talking about, dude?
Y'all had Puna Ford, the defensive lineman, right? And that's why y'all got a bigger hole at D line.
He didn't do much last year. He's one of my favorite players, but he did not do much last year.
Yeah, he's ranked number 29 on the list, still available. I'm looking over this list, seeing who's still available. I'm kind of interested to see where DJ Clark goes, the wide receiver from Jacksonville.
Oh, Chark? DJ
Yeah,
Chark?
Sorry, Chark. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of a slot guy, right? Or no?
He's I remember he ran like a 4.2 combine. No, he's 6'4", 205.
Oh, he
Like,
is? He always
yeah,
looks smaller because I've seen him. Maybe it's that I think he wore a single digit number last
I
year.
think he did. Yeah, number 4. You are correct.
Those single digit numbers, they really throw me off lately. I don't know
I was
why.
not a fan of the number changes. Like, I'm not against it, but I was not a fan of the number changes.
I'm
Like,
not at
I
all.
like the historic numbers. Like,
Yeah, me too.
but yeah, last year he played with the Lions, played in 11 games, had 30 catches for 502 yards, averaged 16.7 yards a catch. So he's like, go deep, take the top off, and can kind of jump ball. But he hasn't had 1,000-yard season since 2019 in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure Detroit paid him a bunch of money.
Yeah, it didn't really work out. Like,
How
gave him that
about
prove it contract.
you guys need a receiver, don't you?
I mean, when don't we? There's been a lot of talk. I don't know if you've seen the talk about because the Rams are still trying to, figure out how to rebuild.
I don't think they're getting rid of
I don't
Cooper
want
Kupp.
him. I don't want Cooper Kupp. It's like, again, it's kind of like an Anquan Bolden trade. It might work out, but it doesn't really solidify our future of the position, in my opinion. Again, if it's Baltimore's move of trading for like 30-year-old wide receivers past their prime.
This guy's not past his prime, I'm telling you.
I mean, he's not past his prime, but like, I don't know. I just don't think it's the move. Like, I think Bateman kind of fits his mold a little bit already. Like, really good route runner with decent speed. I wouldn't mind the DJ Chark, honestly. But again, I'm not signing him anything to a 1-year deal and like decent, not even like good money, decent money. Like, because prove it to me. Prove it. If you come here and you prove it and you throw up numbers, I'll give you I'll give you the contract. Like, there's just no.
I like paying players a lot of money. I don't like paying players a lot of money against the cap, and there's difference. I think the players deserve a bunch of money, but I don't like the whole salary cap mess that it puts it in. You know what I mean?
I agree. Like, it adds a little bit to the sport that you have to work so hard. We're still dealing like with the COVID thing, and like we had been seeing uprising cap for year after year, and then COVID hit, and holy shit, it put every team into purgatory. I would have rather seen the NFL like been like, okay, hey, we're gonna do something so you don't have to blow up all these teams, and all these people have to go to free agency. But it's like I like the cap and I don't.
Yeah.
Because case in point, I'm not looking for another Yankees.
No.
Like some of these, because again, I'm a small market team. The Ravens just be like the Orioles. We can't pay anyone. We can't compete with y'all. Are you serious? Again, a long time ago, I don't know if you remember, a reporter went to Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, and said, how much would it cost? Like, how much big of a check would you cut to win a Super Bowl? He literally said, there's no number on that check. I'd write whatever it takes. Like, and he would. He really fucking would. And I don't want to compete with that. Like,
No.
Because Jerry Jones would pay whatever it takes to win a Super Bowl.
And I'd want an owner like that too.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I would want an owner like that, but it's, a little unfair.
Salary cap leaves. I'm calling up Jeff Bezos, the first person I'm calling up to buy the Seahawks.
Have you seen the whole thing with the Commanders and Jeff Bezos and the owner? Apparently they have a long beef.
Yeah, I just liked Pat McAfee said, like, just a couple billionaires fighting over billionaire stuff. I love it.
Literally. Well, it's because also, like, he owns the Washington Post, and the Washington Post, the one that leaked all the shit from the investigations, basically. Yeah. And
they talk so much shit about him, too. So
I've been waiting for the owners to, like, force him to sell the team. I don't know if they really can. Do you believe that he's got dirt on Jerry Jones like he says he does?
They probably all have dirt on each other, but not as bad as people think.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Robert Kraft was getting handies from Asian illegal prostitutes down here in Miami and barely got a slap on the wrist. Like,
yeah, that's what I mean. But the difference is what Dan Snyder was doing.
Dude, he did a lot of shit.
He's fucking over the rest of the NFL owners.
Not only that, like I don't know if you've seen like the whole thing with like the cheerleaders too. Like he got investigated for that, leaking their photos, all these people and shit. Like,
yeah, well, I saw that, and that'll like.
How many times? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That'll like piss people off, and it's wrong to do and stuff.
It happens.
But he was lying about the attendance that they had, so he wouldn't
withholding numbers. Like he faked the numbers.
So he wouldn't have to split as much money with the other owners, and like,
which was affecting the cap too.
Yeah, and you think that's morally wrong stuff affects the owners,
and like that's just the stuff we know. You don't think he wasn't doing other shit like another over under? How many times do you think Dan Snyder was out on Epstein's Island? Over and under.
Yeah. No, that freaking guy. He's just an idiot, dude.
And it's one of those ones that kills me watching people with like money like him that just because they know they can get away with shit. Like, what does they say? Any crime that says can be like paid with a fine basically means legal for a price.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, but once you start fucking with the other owner's money, right? That's when shit gets serious.
You are not wrong on that. So let me see. Y'all are still looking for an interior offensive lineman. Like,
yeah, we're gonna have to find one in the draft. It's gonna.
I'm like looking at like the market. There's some guys still like on the top 100, but that's a tackle.
But that's the thing about the Seahawks is I'm surprised they signed anybody today because usually we wait till that second, third wave, and that's when we sign people.
But y'all got a good deal on a guy that's just looking to prove himself. Like, if Vance Joseph was not in Denver, I think y'all would have landed Zach Allen. I really think y'all would have. Leonard Floyd's still out there, the linebacker from the Rams.
Yeah,
I think they had to cut him.
Yeah, they did for cap money, I think they're trying to trade Allen Robinson. They traded Jalen Ramsey.
I got one for you. A guy named Isaac Seumalo. He's ranked number 54, played for the Eagles at guard, 29 years old. Might be someone for y'all to look at.
We just need a center.
Yeah, and I think the only center is that McGovern guy, which I think he got signed, right? Yeah, he got signed.
No, he was a guard. It was the other McGovern that was the center.
Well, what's funny is on NFL.com now, what's so funny is he's wearing a Jets jersey, says he was on the Cowboys.
So it's a picture of the
I'm
other guy.
so confused. Did
It's
he
a
get like released?
No, it was that's the other guy.
Okay. They're saying this is not the Connor McGovern on the Cowboys. They've corrected it. So it is the Jets guy. They've corrected it. He took every snap for the Jets at center last season. So interesting. I love how it was so confusing. Like, and that they even had to address it in the new article.
Yeah, dude, I was like, and that's not a common first and last name combo. I was like, what?
That's big for the Bills. When I did my Bills video, I talked with the guy and I was like, I really think y'all need to change your center. I think that's going to be what really like separates your offensive line. And he wasn't sure on it, but I think I was right. And that move shows it that the Bills signed him in the first wave.
They need a running back too.
Yeah, I mean, Cook might be that guy, but yo, Bijan Robinson or like Gibbs might be available there at the end of the first round. They could
I
take
think
that.
both of them will be.
Oh
They
yeah,
let running backs fall so much. It's kind of sad. It's
it's
sad
just
to
like
see.
corners. The life on them short, kind of a little bit.
It's
But
kind of sad because you remember back in the day growing up, running backs were the blood of the
the
team.
premium,
Yeah.
like, oh my god, I got to get up to first to go get oh my god, I'm trying to remember who did Miami traded the whole draft for. It was
Ricky Williams.
yes, Ricky Williams.
Oh, but it was
I love when he
Orleans.
played in Baltimore. I loved Ricky.
But
He
it
played
was
Baltimore a little bit.
Oh, he did? Yeah.
Yeah,
he
like at the
didn't have
very
dreads.
end of his years, once he got back in the NFL, he played for us for a little bit. He played really well. He played hard for us.
Yeah, he didn't have dreads though when he played for you guys, so he wasn't as
Right.
cool.
Everyone saw what was it? Was it Larry Fitzgerald's dread get ripped out in that Super Bowl or Super Bowl playoff? And they were like, no, I'm good. And then they ruled that it's not part of the uniform. And if someone grabs it, that's on you. Or it is part of the uniform. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they did that. They did that with Ricky Williams because they were like, "Oh yeah," but I think
Right.
Larry Johnson, the running back for the Chiefs, ripped Troy Polamalu's hair out one time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember the Steelers were involved, whoever they were playing against. But I remember that dread, like literally, dude was just like holding on to it like a fucking trophy. Like,
Dude, there's been some pretty gross ones. If you ever look up like highlights of NFL players getting their hair ripped out, there was one guy, those players that got those thick dreads, like DeAndre Hopkins.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
All of a sudden, there's a guy just holding a piece of hair up like this, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I'd be like, I want to insert too Devin Singletary. Like, where's he gonna end up?
Is he a free agent?
It says he's on the list right now. I'm like, he says he's ranked number 82. I think he is. You got Adam Thielen too. Where's Adam Thielen gonna land?
Yeah, that's a strange one because he's been Minnesota his whole life.
It's just cap casually. They had to.
Yeah,
They had to get rid of. They're still $7 million over a cap. So by the way, look for these 4 teams: the Rams, Niners, which I'm sure you love seeing those two. Vikings, Saints are still all over the cap. The Saints are still $17 million over the cap. They've got $17 million to clear in 2 days. Vikings, $7 million. Like,
what were the teams you said?
Rams, Niners, Vikings, Saints are all over the cap right now still.
Oh, and the Rams and Niners don't even have first round picks.
Yeah. And Rams and Niners, though, they're only like 2 million. So not a whole lot, pretty easy to find 2 million on a roster. But 7 and 17 gets a little fucking harder. God, without really fucking your team way down the road.
I just can't believe usually you see these teams that don't have first round picks and they were good the year before. And then you got the Rams, the Broncos, the Browns. It's like, what are you guys doing?
It's go big or go home. And when you fuck up the go big, you're done, dude. I just don't understand what the Saints did. Like,
oh, me neither. The only reason they have a first round pick is because they traded theirs for the Broncos traded theirs for Sean Payton, but they ended up with it was such a weird that draft pick that they have was the 49ers original first round draft pick that got traded to the Dolphins, then got traded to the Broncos, then got traded to the Saints.
It is kind of funny. I am loving how much more like the trades are becoming more frequent in the NFL, I feel like.
Oh yeah. Not like basketball though. I like how it's not
Oh,
like
yeah, I love
basketball.
basketball trades.
Oh, you like that? I don't like that. I
I
like when they
love all the
stick.
trades.
I don't like it.
Now, basketball does go a little too hard because with basketball, they put like a lot of clauses in with the trades. Like that part I don't like. But I
Well, in
like the
basketball, it's like one player, that's your whole team. Football, it's not, you know.
exactly because it's a 5-man team, not a 22-man team, basically.
Yeah, and one guy is not going to fix. You know, you could have the best quarterback in the NFL with the shittiest offensive line, the shittiest receivers, and you're still going to suck.
Mhm. Exactly, because if your quarterback's running for his life, like
Yeah.
see. Oh my god, dude, screw these. Oh, this is your free article. I was trying to like read about how the Saints really got into that salary cap hell.
I think it's because, like you said, they take money and they'd restructure contracts and they'd restructure contracts.
And they were bad about that when Drew Brees was in his final years.
And that's what they were
Like,
saying because they're like, oh, we'll just get him one ring or one more ring, right?
yep. And like case point, there was one of the guys I saw like signed an extension or reworked, and they already said they added like void years onto it. So it was like 2 years with one void year. So I was like, it's a 1-year deal where he is going to be a huge dead cap after the end of the year. And that's like, like we talked about it, like the money game in the NFL is so hard. That's why they hire people just to do these numbers. And when it comes to like restructuring, you can really get yourself in a bad situation. And Baltimore has been very vocal. They don't like to do it. We've had to a few times. We usually pick one guy, and that's like our guy. Recently, it's been Marlon Humphrey's contract. I don't know if you've ever seen his podcast, Studio 44.
Mm-mm.
He was on there talking with like Steve Biscotti and Eric DeCosta, our GM, and they were like, he asked Steve Biscotti, he's like, so man, what do I got to do to like, use that private jet of yours? Because he already is letting them use the Baltimore Ravens studio for his podcast, basically.
Oh, really?
And that's one of the cool things. The owner's like, yeah, man, use our professional sports team studio to do your podcast. We want you to be happy. But Steve Biscotti looked at him and said, I mean, I heard we've been trying to restructure your contract for a while. Maybe you can talk to EDC about that jet. I'm not allowed to talk to you about it because like the rules. And then sure as shit, EDC came on. They kind of laughed, had a joke about it. Like literally like a week later, Marlon Humphrey restructured his contract in a team-friendly manner. And I was like, yo, they have a secret agreement to let him use the private jet. Like,
yeah, we never restructure anybody's deals anyways either. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, and the Vikings and the Bills, I'm telling you, dude, when I went through their roster, there was a lot of void years on those contracts. So in like 2 to 3 years, they're going to have to deal. So like in 2 to 3 years, Josh Allen's going to have to do a total rebuild around him, basically.
Yeah, that's usually how it works. But good thing NFL rebuilds are pretty quick. They just take 2 or 3.
It depends on how good that front office is. If you spend too much money on free agents and then draft badly too, I mean, that's how GMs get fired.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Bears.
Literally. Yeah,
Hope they don't fuck this up.
Dude, if they fuck this up, I mean, like, case in point, their wide receivers are set. Between DJ Moore was a University of Maryland Terrapin. I wanted him in Baltimore. He wanted to be in Baltimore. Carolina took him early, and he played really well with no quarterbacks in Carolina. Like, they're set at wide receiver. Their offensive line, they're still getting it together, but it's what they're doing is basically filling all these holes with free agency. And then, God, they've got so much draft capital. Like, if they nail their draft, dude, they're legitimate scary. Like, no matter who they sign free agents.
Easier said than done, though. I mean,
but this is a deep defensive edge. Like what we were talking about in the last podcast, the edge defenders are considered a +5, like better than all the previous drafts since like 2015, I think, which that's a statement. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, I've been hearing about Myles Murphy for like 2 years now, and he's not even in the top 3 defensive linemen.
Exactly. Like there's going to be some really good edge rushers, and of course, you can't have enough of them.
No.
What's sad is Baltimore has Ojabo and Owe, so it makes no sense for us early to go get one of these studs. Like, it just, which kills me because I'm like, God, I would love to. I really hope Owe becomes one of those guys, but he really didn't show it last year. And that was one thing I was very wrong on that prediction. I said Owe was going to have a breakout year. Everyone in training camp said it, and then he just disappeared.
That happened with us and Daryl Taylor this year. It happens,
Yep. But was Daryl Taylor a first round pick for y'all?
No, second.
Exactly. That's our first round pick, man.
But probably late first, right?
Yeah. I think it was like in the 20s, so not terrible. Yeah. But hold on, I got to go back now to that draft. God, what year was that? 2 years ago, 2021 maybe. I'll look it up. Odafe Owe. And the thing is, too, I think he was called something else in college, not Odafe. And then when he got to the NFL, he changed his name.
So
he was called Jason. Yeah, he was called Jason Owe when he played for Penn State.
Why?
He basically wanted. They're both from him and Ojabo from Nigeria, technically. So I think he wanted to go back